A state tournament berth is just 7 innings away. Good afternoon, baseball fans, and welcome to Grant Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of WIAA Playoff Baseball, presented by Myers Heating and Cooling, the Myers Home Comfort Store, and Wolf Construction on 97.7 Country WGLR, WGLR.com, the 97.7 Country WGLR mobile app, and the Queen Bay Radio Sports YouTube channel. Later, from Johnson Creek High School, this is the Division IV Johnson Creek Sectional Final. The 5th seed, Barneveld Golden Eagles, against the number 1 seed and number 1 ranked Johnson Creek Blue Jays. The winner heads to the state baseball tournament at Fox City Stadium in Appleton Tuesday morning. For the Wolf Construction broadcast table, I'm Steve Prestegard along with Tyler Dictanis. And remember that we opened today by saying it's tough to beat a team 3 times in one season, and Barneveld proved us right because the Golden Eagles defeated the team that beat them twice in the regular season, Pecatonica, 8-3. And so a number 5 seed is part of the Elite 8 and 7 innings away from going to state, Tyler.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting matchup just because Johnson Creek is their opponent and we are playing in Johnson Creek. So Johnson Creek does have true home field advantage in this game. They've got a very biased home crowd back here behind us, but there is a strong Barneveld contingent along the first base side where the Barneveld dugout is. But it's been a fun day of baseball. It's been a very hot and sticky day, but
which is what you expect this time of year. So.
Right, but the clouds have come in. It's become a lot more comfortable over the last 45 minutes here or so, and hopefully the threat of rain and everything holds off so that we can get this game in before it gets dark and hopefully send our local team Barneveld to state.
Indeed, we would be very happy to do that and to follow them at state next week if that is the case. Barneveld, one of 3 teams here, and therefore one of the 2 remaining teams that has gotten to the last 8 without winning their conference. The only team out of the 4 that was here that won their conference was Pecatonica, and that didn't get them very far. Obviously, in the semifinal this morning. The key to that game really was something that Lance Schmitz mentioned. By the way, this is the Raleigh Cheese pregame show presented by Raleigh Cheese at the intersection of Highways 11 and 23 in the heart of Lafayette County.
Don't forget the cheese.
And as Lance Schmitz mentioned this morning, or actually this afternoon after the ball game, the first time that Barneveld played Pecatonica, the Eagles struck out 14 times. So they focused after that on working counts, and they really successfully did that. And they actually, in fact, forced Pecatonica to use, I believe it was 3 or 4 pitchers in the ball game. They got 2 runs in the top of the 4th inning and then busted out for a 6th spot in the top of the 6th inning on the way to their win today. And meanwhile, the Johnson Creek Blue Jays, who, by the way, will be the road team for this game because they lost the coin toss, they are coming in off an 8-4 win over Oakfield, the 3rd seed, in the game that took place, that just actually got finished not too long ago. Barneveld is looking for his first trip to state since 2011. They've been to state 3 times, 2006, 2009, and 2011, and each time they lost in the semifinals, 06 to Shell Lake 4-1, 09 to Marion 1-0, and in 2011, despite the fact that everybody was rooting for Barneveld, they lost to Chippewa Falls McDonald 3-2. Johnson Creek, meanwhile, they were at state last in 2018. First time they were at state, 1953. My parents didn't know each other at that point. Also 2007 in Division 4 when they won the championship, beating Hurley and Abbotsford. And in 2012, they finished second in Division 4. They beat Greenwood, but lost to Coleman. And then in 2018, they lost to Thorpe 6-5 in the semifinals. So that's the last time they've been to state, and they'd obviously like to go back for the first time in 6 seasons. We will be back with more of the Raleigh Cheese pregame show after these messages on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Then begin to Oreo, Chips Ahoy, and Nutter Butter. And last but not least, repeat. because the new Ultimate Cookie Blizzard packs all three into one powerhouse of a treat. So you can enjoy the best cookie trifecta in every red spoonful. I am for only at DQ. The Southwest Tax Agriculture Rain-Gauge Report is proudly sponsored by Southwest Tax. Keep up to date with the latest rainfall totals from throughout the Tri-State area. Tune in to WGLR to hear the Southwest Tax Agriculture Rain-Gauge Report during the Farm Show with Bob Mittendorf, weekday mornings at 5 a.m. and throughout the day during our newscast. The Southwest Tax Agriculture Rain-Gauge Report. Southwest Tax. This is where you belong. Pre-game one.
Great Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school playoff baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. Callers of the game presented by Cuba City Family Dental, Keeler Family Dental, and now open Darlington Family Dental. 3 convenient locations to serve your dental needs. And Barneveld is wearing the same thing they were this morning. Gold jerseys, white numbers, trimmed in purple, and white pants. On the other hand, Johnson Creek, which wore black jerseys this for their first game, are wearing blue jerseys for the championship game. Happily, apparently the roster we got had the correct numbers, because I got the impression that some of the numbers were different, but the roster we have evidently is the right one. So that's good. Today's injury report brought to you by Russell Law Offices. If you have been injured, contact Russell Law Offices. Their experienced team of personal injury lawyers will fight for your rights and help you get the compensation you deserve. Visit RussellLawWI.com. As Barneveld is taking infield practice right now, they are, of course, out Brock Boleen, the junior first baseman who came in batting 457, out for the rest of the season with a dislocated knee, but they managed to pretty successfully replace him, which is obviously good to have some depth. And we'll be back with more after this on 97.7 Country WGLR.
First things you got to take in mind is make sure that residue is spreading evenly behind the combine, and sometimes this is concentrated actually on the edge of the spread pattern. So speeding up those residue spreading mechanisms on the combine sometimes will actually have a work effect. So it's a good idea to just get out there and take a look at that residue pattern behind the combine and make those adjustments to the combine as needed. Thanks, Bob. For great products and crop advice, go to Pioneer.com/find-my-rep. Get ready for an amazing summer happening now at the National Mississippi River Museum and Aquarium. American Adventure, the interactive and immersive role-play maze, puts you to the test as you work to survive the winter of 1607. With skill and a little fortune, you'll navigate challenges along the way. Do you have what it takes? See for yourself. American Adventure is included in general admission and supported by KCRG, PH Media, and 97.7 Country WGLR. For more information about this exciting exhibit and to plan your visit, at therivermuseum.org.
The Shoebox Scoreboard is presented by the Shoebox in Black Earth, the largest independent shoe store in the Midwest. We do have a few scores from earlier. As we mentioned, Barneveld comes into this game off an 8-3 win over Pecatonica, and Johnson Creek 8-4 over Oakfield. Also in Division 4, another upset in the Blair Taylor sectional. Eleva Strum, the 5-seed over Pittsville, 4-0. Also Royal, the 2-seed over DeSoto, 9-1. So Eleva Strum and Royal for a trip to state. In the Bruce sectional, Solon Springs Northwood over Washburn, 3-0. Solon Springs Northwood, the number 1 seed. And Rib Lake, another number 1 seed, over 6-seed Edgar, 6-2. In the Rosholt sectional, the only score we have is Niagara over Three Lakes Phelps, 4-3. That's a 4 over a 6. Winner of that plays either Stevens Point Pacelli or Gibraltar Washington Island. In Division 3, in the Prairie du Chien sectional, La Crosse Aquinas, a 6-inning 12-2 winner for Viroqua, and New Glarus over the 5 seed over Marshall, the 6 seed, 4-0. So New Glarus and Aquinas for a trip to state of Division 3, and everyone will be rooting for New Glarus, of course. And in Division 2, Madison Edgewood over Reedsburg. That's a 2 over a 1, 3-2. That winner plays the winner of the game between Waupun and Jefferson, which is also a 2-1 matchup. Tonight, by the way, we'll have Brewers baseball in the always friendly environs of Philadelphia. 5:30 start or thereabouts on ESPN Radio, AM 1590 WPVL. When we return, Fuller's Milker Center starting lineups and the sectional final, Barneveld and Johnson Creek for a trip to state after these messages on 97.7 Country WGLR. Grant Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of sectional baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store. 97.7 Country WGLR. Number 5 seed Barneveld, number 1 seed and number 1 ranked Johnson Creek for a trip to state. By the way, also on the Shoebox scoreboard, presented by the Shoebox and Black Earth, the largest independent shoe store in the Midwest.
Congratulations to the Mineral Point Pointers. They are Division III golf state champions. They bring home the gold, and individually Drew Ashelman medaled as the top pointer, taking home the 5th place spot. Alex Ross finished 7th, Eli Lindsay 13th, Reed Ackerman 16th, and Spencer Workman 38th. What a showing by the Mineral Point golf team. Another gold trophy going back to Pointer Nation, following up the state championship in boys basketball earlier this year. And you know, overall, Steve, it's just been an amazing year for Southwest Wisconsin sports teams. Mineral Point bringing home back-to-back golds in, basketball and golf. The Cuba City girls completing the trifecta, going to state in volleyball, girls basketball, and now softball coming up on Thursday that we'll have on Super Hits 106. So
about a 6'10" start or so from the Goodman Diamond at the University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Yep. So it has been an incredible high school sports season, this 2023-2024 campaign, and hopefully we can send one more team to state in baseball with Barneveld here. But although the challenge is going to be tough, playing the number 1 ranked team in the state in their backyard, so to speak. But it should be a fantastic game, and a lot of momentum for Barneveld coming into this one as well, defeating their conference rival in the semifinal earlier today. And as we were saying, the weather seems to be a lot more cooperative as far as the sun not being able to play a factor in this one.
Indeed, it is now cloudy out, and the temperature has dropped to about 77 or so. The humidity has not dropped, but the fact that the wind has picked up makes it much more palatable at the moment than it sure was this morning. Claire Bake, with her 8 convenient locations in Southwest Wisconsin, proud to support our community events. Claire Bake, where they say we can do that, member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Today's game also brought to you by the Dodgeville Chronicle, Democrat Tribune, and Pecatonica Valley Leader, your weekly newspaper sports coverage for Dodgeville, Mineral Point, Barneveld, Iowa Grande, Highland, River Valley, Pecatonica, and Argyle schools. Ritchie Implement recognizes all high school athletes. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. Ritchie Implement, Cobb, Barneveld, Darlington, and Lancaster. The Barneveld Booster Club wishes our Eagles baseball team all the best in today's competition. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. The Barneveld Booster Club, proud to support all athletes upholding our winning traditions both on and off the field. Go Eagles. At Southwest Health's Eye Center, we specialize in advanced care for your eyes. From exams to surgery to glasses and everything in between, helping you see life more clearly is always our number one priority. To learn more about Southwest Health's Eye Center, visit southwesthealth.org. Time now for the starting lineups presented by Fuller's Milker Center. See Fuller's complete hygiene line and options for your brand new dairy setup or existing parlor remodel. Fuller's in Lancaster and Richland Center, and at fullersmilkercenter.com. Flip the page because even though Johnson Creek is at home, they are not the home team. So here is their starting lineup for the number one ranked Blue Jays, 23-4. They were 12-2, believe it or not, second place in the Trailways South Division. That is because they lost back-to-back conference games to Deerfield, 3-2 and 6-5 back a month ago. So here is their starting lineup. Taylor Joseph, a senior, will start at shortstop and lead off. Batting second is Tanner Herman, a junior, at second base. Batting third is Zach Holland, a junior. He is in left field. Batting cleanup is the pitcher, and he is Dylan Bredlow, a senior. Batting fifth is the center fielder, Luke Hartz. He is a sophomore. Batting sixth is the right fielder, Silas Hartz, and he's a senior. Batting seventh is the catcher, Aiden Smith. He is a sophomore. No, he is the first baseman. Mistake on my part. The catcher is Ian Heald. He is a senior, and he bats eighth. And batting ninth is Doug Hartwig. He is the third baseman. He is a junior. Defense for Barneveld, pretty similar with two switches to when the first game began. Ty Thousand is in left field. Tarek Marks is in center field. And Cooper Shipman is in right field. At third base, Caden Schlimgen. The shortstop is one of those switches, Casey Helgeson. At second base is Gavin Fishnick. At first base is Landon Beecher. Behind the plate is Trenton Owen. And on the mound is the pitcher on the mound, Hunter Larson, a sophomore. And why are we surprised? Why are we not surprised about maybe some weather? Hunter Larson on the season, he is a sophomore. He is 4-2 with a 118 earned run average and a 1.12 whip. And I see I made an error here in my game notes. He pitched 35 2/3 innings of baseball this season coming into this game. And unfortunately, the error I had was I did not note the hits and all of that. But you would have to believe that he's probably their number two pitcher because he is pitching today. And Larson did not pitch in the first game. So he is able to go all 7 innings. The pitchers who did pitch in that game, Helgeson went and then had to he got retired due to pitch count. Ty Thousand replaced him on the mound and ended up finishing the ball game. Thousand did not get a save in that game because the tying run was never in the on deck circle. I believe that's the definition. But so basically, Larson is able to go as far as is necessary today. Can you bring up that ad I have to read off the phone? And today's game, by the way, brought to you by Dulos in Lancaster. They invite you to party like it's 1999 at their 25th anniversary Fireman's Dance Street Party On Saturday, June 22nd, enjoy live music by Miami Bay and all the fun at Doolittle's in Lancaster.
Game also brought to you by Complete Auto Glass. Glass America offers glass for all of your automotive repair needs. Complete Auto Glass. Glass America is proud to support Barneveld Athletics. Complete Auto Glass. Glass America of Verona. We should mention, Steve, because I'm seeing a growing number on our Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel looking for the stream. We will upload the stream to YouTube after the game is done. There just isn't enough cell service or data for us to get an actual live stream from where we're at here in Johnson Creek. So just listen to us on 97.7 Country, and we will upload both the Barneveld Pecatonica semifinal game as well as the sectional final coming up later on. We'll try and find an area where there's legitimate 5G and or Wi-Fi on our trip home. We'll get those games uploaded on our Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel. Make sure you hit subscribe so that way you get the notifications of when those games are going to be available.
That's right, because we have more than one. Did you know that we have more than 180 archived live stream events on the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel?
I did, and I counted them myself.
we even have, if you want to really be amused or entertained, is to watch old editions of the Queen Bee Radio Sports High School Sports Roundup,
Yep.
which I'm pretty sure is going to return in some form in the fall. That
Yep.
was always an interesting experience.
Yeah, that was a fun show to do, especially during football season, getting all of our football broadcasters to just talk about high school football and the sports scene in Southwest Wisconsin. We did hear that there were a number of high school coaching staffs that got together on Thursday nights to listen and hear what we had to say about their teams, and
Which is kind of scary to think
right,
about.
yeah.
Hey, wait a minute, they're paying attention?
yeah, and they may or may not hold that stuff against us. So
Well, we find out if we need to get stats or
Right.
an interview with them. Our double plays today brought to you by Tri-County Posse Baseball. Quality experiences for players and parents while developing athletes on and off the field. Todd Carl, former pro of the Marlins and Cubs organization, helps guide players to their maximum potential on the Posse's travel baseball and softball teams. Learn more at TriCountyPosseBaseball.com.
The away team and batting first. The Eagles will be the home team and batting second.
As we
The
said.
scoreboard will still show the Blue Jays as the home team and the Eagles as the guest.
Just to confuse everybody basically here. So
Batting first for the Blue Jays.
as they announce the
In
teams,
reserve,
I
number
think we can probably take a break here. Right?
Yeah, we should probably take one now.
Whitehouse.
Yep. So we'll take a break, and we will be back, Barneveld and Johnson Creek, for a trip to state after these messages. 97.7 Country
Number 11,
WGLR.
Evan League.
Cheese is a great source of protein for school lunches or snacks before the big game. Stop in and try some of our award-winning artisan cheeses like Dunbar Blue, Red Rock, and Little Mountain. We have fresh cheese curds weekly and a wide variety of snacks and beverages, plus made-to-order cheese trays. Shop locally and taste the difference of handmade Wisconsin cheese at Raleigh Cheese House on the corner of Highways 11 and 23 Salzburg.
Anderson to Weber Toyota in Dubuque, powering our audio stream. Anderson Weber Toyota in Dubuque when you are ready. We're also brought to you by BioVet, your trusted partner in supplying microbial and nutritional support for livestock. Find them at bio-vet.com. Community First Bank for you in the communities where you live, work, and play. Experience for yourself the difference at Community First Bank, cfbank.com, member FDIC.
Number 15,
As they announce the
Number
players,
24,
and they announce everybody,
Braylon Lee.
whether they start or come off the
And
bench or probably aren't
pitching.
playing at all
Number 5, Hunter Larson.
today. Barneveld, second place. They were 15-5
Catcher, number
in
2,
the
Trenton Owens.
Six Rivers East division behind Pecatonica, which was 11-1.
Number 1.
Pecatonica's only loss in the regular season was to
His designated hitter will
Belmont.
be number 14.
But
Landon
that,
Beaker.
as mentioned, Barneveld got the win after losing to them twice in the regular season. Johnson Creek
number 12,
finished second to Deerfield, the team that beat them twice in the Trailways South, and they beat Oakfield, which finished tied for second in the Trailways North.
8, Casey Helgeson.
Barneveld, the only unranked team in this field.
Number 3,
So, they're just like Cuba City was at state a couple years ago, and you remember how that went.
Worked out quite well for the Cubans.
Number 6, Derek Marks.
That was a fun experience that we got to have up there.
You might say.
Field, number 11, Cooper
The
Shipman.
weather is not as foreboding as it was then, but we're still kind of looking at the weather radar, which has a blob of weather just along the Wisconsin-Illinois state line and apparently moving north. So we'd like it to not rain. I think we're prepared if it does, however.
Now would you all please stand.
And now
and
from
remove your
Johnson
hats
Creek,
for
our
the
national
playing of the
anthem.
National anthem.
National anthem at Johnson Creek High School, the only domed high school I've ever seen in my life. They have 5 domes, one for the high school, one for the middle school, one for the administration building for the school district, and they have one for the cafeteria, and they have one for the gym, which you've been in before, as we mentioned before.
It's a very cool venue, and the gym in there is really cool. We were in there for the Barneveld volleyball sectional final against Fall Creek, where Fall Creek did come away with the win over Barneveld, but still a very cool venue, a great environment. A big shout out to Brady and his entire staff here in Johnson Creek. They've done an amazing job trying to get this field ready and making sure that we had what we need, or as much as we could, as far as getting our broadcast on the air, getting stuff squared away for our stream.
Well, and particularly, we got here this morning and saw a sight you could have not bet me any amount of money I would have seen this morning, which was a helicopter hovering over the field to get it to dry, because apparently they had a lot of rain yesterday. Of course, everybody has. There were apparently pools of water behind first base, and so it turns out somebody knows somebody who has a helicopter. And so here's a Bell Jet Ranger hovering all over the field. And if you heard our Rally Cheese pregame show, I guarantee it's the first, probably the history of Queen Bee Radio Sports, that had helicopter noises in the background. And that was not a sound effect.
It was crazy because we had heard, rumblings of the delayed start, by half an hour, and then we get here and we see a helicopter in the outfield, and you're thinking, med flight or something, crazy like that. No, it's just to get the field ready.
Again, the winner goes to state, which starts Tuesday morning at 9 at Fox City Stadium at Appleton. Here is the first pitch, and that is a good start. A strike to Taylor Joseph, 402 batting average, 1.252 OPS, 5 home runs, and 19 RBI. It's a ground ball to short, and the scoop and the throw to first from Helgeson over to Beaker 1 away on 1 pitch, or 2 pitches.
Now up, Tanner Herman.
Tanner Herman batting .407, 104.5 OPS, 1 home run, and 24 RBIs. That pitch is low and outside for ball 1. Barneveld last season got beat in the regional final. It occurs to me that I announced their game. They lost to Potosi Cassville 4-0. Potosi Cassville lost to Pecatonica, which then went on to stay at the state championship game last year. Of course, the pitch is fouled off, 1 ball, 1 strike, and 1 out. And the pitch, big curve that misses low and inside, 2 balls and a strike. One thing I can tell you is that scoreboard is a lot easier to see when it's not so bright down the right field line. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Another curve and a swing and a miss, 2-2. Quick delivery, and the pitch is hit off of the backstop. And how's the camera?
The camera is frozen. Let's fix it.
That's happened more than once today, so now it will be fixed. And here comes the 2-2 pitch. Fastball upstairs, 3-2. Zach Holland is on deck. Johnson Creek's got a lot of gaudy batting averages. If they have a question, it might be the pitching after the first couple of guys. 3-2 is outside, ball 4. First base runner is Herman via the walk. Here is Zach Holland, 444 batting average, 1.321 OPS,
Now
3 home runs,
Zach Holland.
and 32 RBIs. No score, 1 out. Holland, a left-hander at the plate. And his first pitch, and that's upstairs and outside for ball 1. Herman on the season with 25 stolen bases. Probably a good threat to go, you would think. That's kind of an obvious statement. Here's the 1-0, and that's a called strike. And immediately out of his crouch was Owen looking back to first. 1-1. We'll have again state softball from Goodman, Diamond, and Madison on Thursday. Cuba City and Auburndale at 6:10 on Super It's 106. Next pitch fouled off down the left field line. Of course, we had a ton of state track athletes up at UW La Crosse. And, of course, as mentioned, Mineral Point was leading this morning and finished off. I think they went 27 holes today because they only got 9 in yesterday. Throw back to first. But Mineral Point, with names that are, I believe, Eli Lindsay, obviously, and Drew Ashman.
Yep.
Do you think he boxed out when he was golfing today? Pitch is hit to left center field, and that's going to go to the wall. Around third is Herman. He will score. And that is a really long RBI single for Holland. And it is
Single scores Herman.
1-0 Johnson Creek with 1 out in the top of the first.
Now up Dylan Bredlow.
Here is Dylan Bredlow, a senior batting .424, 973 OPS with 25 RBIs. 1-0 Johnson Creek, 1 out in the top of the first. Pitch is outside for ball 1. Holland apparently does not have any stolen bases, and so maybe that's why he ended up driving on a runner for first on a single. That pitch pops away from Owen, but he is able to get it before Holland decided to take off from first. 2 balls, no strikes. A look to first, and then the pitch outside, and it's 3 balls and no strikes. Another look back from Larson from the mound, and the 3-0 pitch just hit the outside corner for a strike, and it's 3-1. Another look back to first, and the 3-1 pitch, and that is a strike at the knees, and it's 3-2. Three balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. And the pitch is outside and low. The runner took off, but that was not needed on his part because it is a walk. Holland goes to second. And here is the 5th hitter, Luke Hartz,
Now up, Luke
batting
Hartz.
.410, .984 OPS with 12 RBIs this year. 1-0, Johnson Creek, 1 away in the top of the first inning in the sectional final. Winner goes to state. Sort of a curve high for ball 1. Maybe more a sinking fastball. Look now to second, and then the pitch, that's outside, 2 balls and no strikes. Larson looks in. And now delivers the 2-0 pitch. It's popped foul. How's the laptop?
Yeah, it froze again.
Not sure what the record is, but 2 balls and a strike. We may set the record for most freezing during a YouTube event of ours. That pitch is hit well down the left field line. And it is a fair ball and heading into the corner. Holland scores. Bredlow stops at third. RBI double for Hartz.
Luke's double scores Holland.
And it's 2-0 as Holland scores.
Next up, Silas Hartz.
And here is right fielder Silas Hartz, who is batting .338, .904 OPS with 12 RBI. 2-0. And still 1 out. And the first pitch, that is a strike. Strike 1. I was going to say, actually, although now that the streak was broken this morning, that was, with it being 2-0, I was going to say, Culver's cool down after these messages right here in the first inning. Because I did 3 2-0 games last week. That's a curveball that misses low and inside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Barneveld fans behind us thought that might have found the inside corner, but did not. Here's the 1-1 pitch. That is a strike at the belt outside corner. It's 1-2 with 1 out. Bredlow at third. Hartz at second. 2 runs already in here in the top of the first inning for Johnson Creek. That pitch goes to the screen. Coming in from the plate, the throw, and he's safe. Coming in is Bredlow on the wild pitch.
Pass ball
Going
scores Dylan Bredlow.
Well, that's interesting. All right. And Hartz to third. It's 3-0 Johnson Creek. And meanwhile, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Silas Hartz. And here's the pitch. And that is grounded to third. The throw to first is in time, and Luke Hartz stays at third. Silas Hartz retired 5-3, 2 away. And here is Aiden Smith, the catcher, batting .370, 113 OPS, 2 home runs, 34 RBI. 3-0 Johnson Creek, 2 out in the top of the first. Here's the first pitch. And that's outside for ball 1. Next pitch. Curveball, and it goes to the screen. That'll score another run. And I guess they'll call that a passed ball.
Second pass ball, and Luke Hartz scores.
And Luke Hartz scores to make it 4-0, and that clears the bases. And meanwhile, two balls, no strikes to Smith, the 7th batter in this first inning. Swing and a miss at a fastball, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike.
I was going to say that one was probably more of a wild pitch because the batter had to duck away from it.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it bounced off the catcher's mitt, and therefore it's a pass ball. Though I would not think that it was, but at any rate, meanwhile, that pitch goes to the screen. It's 3 balls and a strike. Ty Thousand came in relief in the game, and I'm pretty sure he's got most of his pitches available, and meanwhile, that's ball 4. So Smith walks with 2 out. Here is Ian Heald, the catcher, batting .257, 789 OPS, 1 home run, 19 RBIs. And Luke Schmitz will come out from the dugout. The Barneveld dugout is the first base dugout here. And let us see here. Myers Heating and Cooling, servicing Southwest Wisconsin since 1999. Myers Heating and Cooling, where they say, don't worry, we got this. Mountain City Bank's total line of credit allows you to use the equity in your home to do the things you want. Stop in at Mountain City Bank to apply. Offer subject to approval. Member FDIC and an equal housing lender. Learn more at mountcitybank.com. Grant Regional Health Center's ortho team, Dr. Brad Binsfeld and Nate Stockel, PAC, provide exceptional care for sports-related injuries. Grant Regional Health Center, experience the difference. First pitch to Heald is a fastball downstairs for ball 1. This is quite obviously not the start Barneveld had in mind, but they do play 7 innings, or at least 5 for a reason. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That is a strike, and now the throw to second. And that goes into center field, but holding at second is Smith. That'll be a stolen base. Excuse me. And the count 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, the silver lining is that Barneveld's bats came alive and they showed great patience at the plate in their first game against Pecatonica. So we'll see how the Eagles respond at the bottom of the first.
That is grounded to short. And the throw to first is in time, and that finally ends the first, but 4 runs come across.
At the end of the first.
4 runs
lead,
on
4-0.
2 hits and a couple of walks and 1 runner remaining. And our score after 1, because someone is attempting to call me. And, okay. Now we'll be back on 97.7 Country WGLR.
WIAA and see how their team and your community can partner to be true champions. This band and the Peterson Agency offer good demand insurance protection for your unique business. Insurance the owners of child care centers, baby salons, fitness facilities, and dozens of other businesses across the Midwest. West Bend and the Peterson Agency understand these businesses. They can provide insurance programs tailored to the services they provide. Along with comprehensive coverages, our loss prevention experts can help keep your business safe. To find out more, call the Peterson Agency in Argyle, 648-543-3354. In game 2.
Starting lineups again presented by Fuller's Milker Center. See Fuller's complete hygiene line and options for your brand new dairy setup or existing parlor remodel. Fuller's in Lancaster and Richland Center and at Fuller'sMilkerCenter.com. Barneveld again 16-5. They were 8-4 second place in the Six Rivers East, and they will start Tarek Marks, a junior at center field, leading off. Casey Helgeson pitched in the first game, is the shortstop in the second game. He bats second. Helgeson is a senior. Trenton Owens, senior catcher, bats third. Gavin Fishnick, junior, second baseman, bats cleanup. Batting fifth is Caden Schlimgen, freshman, third base.
Correction, we're entering the
Ty
bottom of
Thousand
first.
Left fielder is sophomore,
Leading
bats
off.
6th. Batting 7th is
For
the
Eagles,
pitcher,
Tarek Marks.
and that is Hunter Larson, and he is a sophomore. Landon Beaker, a freshman, is the first baseman, batting 8th. And Cooper Shipman, sophomore right fielder, bats 9th. And the first pitch is grounded to second. And the throw in time to retire Marks. One away, Marks coming in, batting .391, 990 OPS with 14 RBIs. Marks in the first game 0 for 4 with a run scored
Now
and an
batting,
RBI.
Casey Helgeson.
Casey Helgeson, .491 batting average, 1.319 OPS coming into today. 1 home run, 20 RBIs. Helgeson 0 for 2 with a run scored, or 0 for 3 with a run scored and RBI. And the first pitch is ball 1. The starting pitcher is Dylan Bredlow. He is a senior, 7-2, 1 save, .82 earned run average, .96 OPS, whip, excuse me. And the next pitch is grounded to third and juggled and thrown to first is in time. And a great play there by the third baseman, Doug Harding. And 2 away. Trenton Owens, .392 batting average, 1.028 OPS, 14 RBIs. He was 1 for 3 with a run scored and 2 RBIs today. As I was saying about Bredlow, 12 games, 13, 51 innings pitched coming into today, 21 hits, 23 runs, 6 earned, 28 walks, and 70 strikeouts. The catcher is Ian Heald. The rest of the infield, Doug Hartwig at third, Taylor Joseph at short, Tanner Herman at second. First pitch is a strike. It's actually 0-2 now, or 2 balls and no strikes, excuse me, with 2 away. And at first base is Aiden Smith. And that pitch misses, and it's 3 balls, no strikes. Holland, Luke Hartz, and Silas Hartz in the outfield for Johnson Creek. 3-0 pitch is low for balls 4. Owens is the first base runner for Barneveld, 4-0 Johnson Creek. And as we mentioned before, you have to feel like one of the strategies, particularly when you have a pitcher who did pitch in the first game, as Barneveld mentioned, is to extend the at-bats to the extent you can. First pitch, a swing and a miss to Gavin Fishnick, who 254 batting average, 688 OPS with 17 RBIs, and he's wearing a different jersey. Fishnick was 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored and an RBI in the first game. And that pitch is hit to right center, but is caught before it got there by the second baseman on a line, Herman, and that ends
Now
inning
at the end of
number
the first,
1. 1 walk.
Blue Jays 4, Eagles 0.
And 1 left. And after 1 inning in the sectional final, Johnson Creek 4, Barneveld nothing on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Parents, with Progressive collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog, because there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you think, I'm sorry, Mr. Bibbit, but if you fix your tail, you can help yourself. You know, Mr. Bibbit is thinking, you'd be trained. Anyway, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at progressive.com and Great
Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of High school playoff baseball presented by Myers Heating and Cooling, the Myers Home Comfort Store and Wolf Construction on
Leading off,
97.7 Country
Hartwig.
WGLR. Doug Hartwig will lead off in the second inning. He is the 9th batter after 8 batted and 4 scored in the first inning, the top of the first for Johnson Creek, and he swings at the first pitch, hits it well to center, but that's going to stay in the park and be caught by the center fielder Marks. Hartwig coming in, 425 batting average, 1.189 OPS, 2 home runs and 13 RBIs, the 9th batter.
Now batting Taylor Joseph.
One away, here's Joseph, who grounded to short in the first inning. And the first pitch is outside for ball 1. Russell Law Offices here to assist you as your local legal representation. Call for a consultation to discuss, personal injury, estate planning, family law, criminal defense, probate administration, and more. Proudly serving Southern Wisconsin. Russell Law Offices. And our thanks to Larson for waiting before I got that all done. Well hit to left field, and that ball is going to be off the wall. And pulling it at second with a double is Joseph. So he's 1 for 2.
Joseph with the double.
Here's Herman, who scored
Now up, Tanner Herman.
who walked and scored the first of the 4 runs in the first inning for Johnson Creek. 4-0 Johnson Creek. Went out in the first, and they pitched a called strike at the knees. Larson is ready, and the pitch. That goes outside, just missed the outside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. We will have, again, the Brewers in Philadelphia. Game 2 of that series tonight on AM 1590 WPVL. Well, I know why you flinched there, because it was headed right for your face. Fouled off, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And did it do it again?
It did it again. They will see us for a brief moment. Camera resets. There we go.
Curveball for a strike, swing and a miss, strike 3, 2 away. That is his first strikeout, Larson's. And
Now
here
up,
is
Jack
Holland, who singled and scored in the first inning with an RBI. He is a left-handed batter. It's 4-0 Johnson Creek. 2 out in the top of the second inning. And the first pitch, a fastball rating outside, ball 1. Tri-County Posse Baseball. The Posse will be holding baseball and softball tryouts for their 2025 travel teams the weeks of July 7th and 14th at the Tri-State Area's newest premier outdoor facility, the old My Tires location in Platteville. Sign up at tricountypossebaseball.com. Fouled off at the plate, 1 ball, 1 strike. And have you noticed what's going on past the right field line?
Yeah, that doesn't look fun.
It's getting a little dark. Fly ball to right center field, and that will be caught in front of the warning track by the right fielder Shipman. A double, but left at first, or left at second. And our score after an inning and a half. Johnson Creek 4, Barneveld nothing on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Between work, school activities, and everything in between, life is busy. Let us help you take one thing off your to-do list. Grant Regional Community Clinics in Lancaster, Potosi, Caswell, and Fenimore are offering WIAA sports physicals from June 10th to July 15th for your student athletes. Low cost, convenient hours, And all proceeds benefit your local school. Call 723-2131 to schedule your appointment soon so you can get back to enjoying summer. Grant Regional Community Clinic. Better health starts here.
Bottom of the second inning, 4-0. Johnson Creek leading Barneveld in the sectional final. Again, the winner will head. There's the state tournament schedule has changed. The WIAA has finally given in and decided that you really can't consistently fit in 6 games in one day for 2 days. Here's Schlimgen. Caden Schlimgen, 259 batting average, 760 OPS with 8 RBI. Schlimgen in the first game, 0 for 3, and he hits the first pitch, popped up behind first base. And it's going to be the first baseman, Smith, making the catch. 1 away. Today's game is brought to you by Bytech Resource Management, a greater way Bytech Resource Management of Monroe. The Queen Bee Radio Sports SoundCloud page. Listen back to recordings of previous sportscasts anytime and on demand. SoundCloud.com/Queen Bee Radio Sports. Here's Ty Thousand, and he takes strike 1. Thousand out of the year, 235 batting average, 686 OPS with 9 RBIs. He was 2 for 2 with 2 runs scored and an RBI in the first game. Next pitch is outside, and yeah, I see a whole line of storms actually. Well, rain at least. It's mostly green. Next pitch, that is a called strike, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. The key is if the weather radar looks like a giant lasagna is coming over,
right,
that's not good.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned if you want to see and hear if we can be electrocuted live on air. That'd be cool.
Well, you may think so. 1-2 pitch hit foul. Of course, the difference is, if one of us gets electrocuted and the other doesn't, you're the one that's closest to all the electronic stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm in no man's land here.
Where are your keys, just in case? 1 ball, 2 strikes with 1 out. And the pitch. And that misses down low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Yeah, everybody is starting to look down the right field line. And it's not because of the hill that's over there. 2-2. That's outside. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Larson, the pitcher, is on deck. Here's the 3-2 pitch. And that's low, ball 4. Good plate discipline. And the second walk given up by Bredlow. So a runner at first with 1 out in the bottom of the second. Hunter Larson on the season, 250 batting average, 640 OPS with 10 RBIs. Larson in the first game was 1 for 2 with a run and an RBI scored. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1. I guess the interesting question is, if it does rain, is the guy with a helicopter available? That ball goes to the wall, or to the backstop, and going to second on a wild pitch is Thousand. So he's at second base. He's in scoring position with 1 away.
I would imagine that the helicopter's on speed dial.
I would hope
on standby.
So. The coach, by the way, for Johnson Creek is Mark Blakely, and this morning he was in the helicopter. That pitch is off the glove of the catcher, goes to the wall, and Thousand gets to third on the passed ball by Heald. And so now it's a runner at third with 1 away. And the count, 3 balls and no strikes.
And when the #1 ranked team in the state gives you opportunities, you got to take advantage of them. Barnevald's got to get this run across.
At least. Here is the 3-0 pitch. And that's a strike on the outside corner, 3-1. Bredlow has thrown principally fastballs. You always kind of wonder when the guy started the first or finished the first game how much gas he has left in the tank because he's warmed up twice. Here's the 3-1, and that is hit to left field for a base hit. Coming in to score is 1,000. Larson helps his own cause with an RBI single, and it is 4-1 with one away in the bottom of the second inning.
Larson single.
Here's Beaker came into the game 2 for 7 and a 667 OPS, and was 1 for 2 with a run scored. Not bad for a freshman who only had 7 at bats coming into the game. And the first pitch, a strike at the knees. If you could get Larson in from first base, that would make the Barneveld fans happy. And that hit, did it hit him? Apparently it didn't. Beaker, it sounded like it did, but apparently it bounced off the catcher's glove, which would have been right next to Beaker.
Well, it did hit him. It's just, did he swing when he did it? And they're saying that it's a strike.
All right, so that's the explanation, and it is 0-2. 2 strikes with 1 out. Larson at first. And the pitch is in the dirt and blocked by Heald. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Larson on the season 5 of 5 in stolen bases. He is at first. He is the pitcher, but he is at first base. No courtesy runner to this point. And now time is called as Bredlow finally got off the rubber and Beaker out of the batter's box, and now he's back in, and Bredlow's ready to go. The 1-2 is outside and low. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Not much of a lead by Larson at first. And the 2-2 fouled off at the plate. And we'll do 2-2 again.
I thought I may have heard a couple rumbles of thunder.
You know, that's
far
what
away.
I thought. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Throw to first. High throw, and it gets down the right field line. And so going to second is Larson. That's an error on the catcher, Heald. Beaker strikes out. And so it is up to Shipman. Shipman on the season, 161 batting average, 640 OPS, 4 RBIs. He was 0 for 4 in the first game. Shipman getting instructions from Luke Schmitz. And now we're going to have a mound conference as Mark Blakely, the Johnson Creek coach, comes out. So while he does that, that is for Jefferson County, by the way, not back in Grant County. Today's game brought to you by Carey's Seamless Gutters and Overhead Doors of Belmont, Prairie du Chien, and at Carey'sGuttersandDoors.com. Sloan Implement, your official John Deere dealer in Bloomington, Cuba City, Montfort, and at Sloans.com. Bouse Electric, call Brad Adrian and Josh Busher at Bouse Electric, Lancaster, and Fenimore. And Brian's Auto Body and Paint Specialist in Lancaster. And People's State Bank for personal, home, business, and ag loans. Visit one of their convenient area locations or visit peoplesfinancial.com, member FDIC. Well, whatever is it, are they going to make a switch? Is that Bredlow leaving?
Yeah, it does look like it. So we do have a new pitcher. And it's number 7.
Well, that would be Aiden Smith, who was the first baseman.
As the rain droplets have arrived.
That's what I kind of felt, yeah.
After
Smith
pitching
on the year.
change, Cooper Shipman will be up.
7-0, 150 earned run average, 0.90 whip. He has pitched in 12 games, 46 and 2/3 innings. Given up 28 hits, 16 runs, 10 earned, walked 14, and struck out 44. And yes, this is a good thing to have out. We hopefully are well covered here. We've got a bunch of raincoats. I guess I don't really need those, so I'll put those down underneath. And nobody's concerned about the water, but definitely concerned about the cell phone. We have shirts, we have rain gear, we've got blankets, and we got towels actually, and we've got rain gear as the rain continues, and probably a good idea to cover the power strip. Let me see if I can do this without sounding bad on the air. Hang on 1 second.
While Steve does that, we'll tell you that our video stream will be on the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel. After the games have completed, we'll get to a spot where we can find reliable cell service or Wi-Fi to upload the 2 games that we've had on AM 1590 WPVL, as well as on right here on 97.7 Country WGLR. I believe everything is adequately covered, or at least enough where it's not going to be a problem going forward.
Well, assuming it doesn't rain more than this, yes. And the first pitch is ball 1 to Shipman from Aiden Smith. So there is a new first baseman. And at the moment, we are not quite sure who that is. That's a strike outside corner, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. I'm sure that Jessica is going to look at all of our log stuff afterwards, and it's got rain blotches on it. It's like, what's that? 1-1 is outside, 2 balls and a strike. Well, we have experience announcing in the rain, don't we?
It just wouldn't be spring sports if it didn't happen.
So. No, including state. Here's the 2-1 outside. The throw to third is not in time. Shipman, or actually Larson, gets to third. So he is at third with 2 out, and it's 2 balls and a strike to Shipman, the 9-hitter. And there was a photographer next to us, and now he's left us. 2-1 pitch, swing and a miss, 2-2. Two and two with 2 out, runner at third. And a run in, 4-1, Johnson Creek. That pitch is outside, ball 4. So Shipman walks back to the top of the order, and Marks, who grounded to second in the first inning. We actually still have an umbrella if we need that.
It's on standby, but, kudos to us for being able to quickly get everything covered and taken care of.
First pitch is popped up foul. Right field.
Oh, no, it's fair.
It's actually, yes, it is, and it's to right field. The ball is caught. I'm not sure why that took so much description there, but Marks is retired. 1 run does come in on 1 hit and an error, and 1 runner left. And after 2 innings in the sectional final, Johnson Creek 4, Barneveld 1 on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Your Kia dealer, Fuller's is your source for the automated milking systems line and all of the latest in automated milking systems. Make your operation more efficient and profitable, and get the most out of your dairy herd by partnering with the experts at Fuller's Milker Center, LLC, your local Kia dealer in Lancaster, Richland Center, and Fuller'sMilkerCenter.com. Hello, Miss Corner here. I'm thrilled to be coming back to my roots and serve our community's dental health after graduating from Marquette School of Dentistry and UW La Crosse. I'm excited to join Cuba City Family Dental in our locations in Darlington and Keeler this summer and provide top-notch dental care to our area families. Take control of your oral health and make an appointment with our team, and let's make your smile the best it can be. Contact Cuba City, Darlington, and Keeler Family Dental now, and let's start this journey together. Keep smiling, Tri-State. In-game
Grand Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school baseball in the rain, presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. 4-1, Johnson Creek leads Barneveld as we go to the third inning. And the first pitch is popped up by Bredlow out of play. So Bredlow's obviously still in the game. He may be at first base since they moved Smith from first to pitcher. Bredlow walked and scored in the first inning. Next pitch, that's an outside corner strike. And it's 1-1. For more area high school sports coverage, subscribe to the Cream Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel. Weekly highlights, interviews, and over 180 archived live stream games. That pitch is a ball. And it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Receive notifications of future live stream video events by subscribing to the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel. Pitch is inside, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Of course, the kind of interesting question that this would bring up is what happens if there's a rain delay with a stream. That pitch is outside, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. In addition to being on the air, obviously, live on 97.7 Country WGLR. Here's the 3-2. And that's strike 3. Curve that just hit the knees. 1 away. And here is Luke Hartz. RBI single and a run scored.
Now up, Luke Hartz.
In the first inning. Yeah, we got to announce the state softball tournament 3 years ago at UW Green Bay. First pitch fouled off. The thing about that tournament was that nobody told us that we were not actually going to be able to be in the press box. Now, UW La Crosse has an artificial turf softball field, so rain wasn't the issue for the players. That is hit down the third baseline and headed to the corner. And digging for 2, Hartz is sliding in and has a double. Hartz's second hit of the game, and he's at second base with 1 out in the top of the third.
Double.
Now Silas Hartz,
Silas Hartz,
who grounded to third back in the 8 batter first inning. We're brought to you by Claire Bank with their 8 locations, convenient locations in Southwest Wisconsin. Proud to support our community events. Claire Bank, where they say we can do that. Member FDIC. And an equal housing lender. Fastball misses for ball 1. So we got there and weren't really prepared for the rain. Here's the 1-0 pitch. That's a fastball upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. And again, we're not told that we were going to have to be outside. So we got kind of wet the first game. Had to go find a place to buy some towels. Next pitch is outside. 3 balls and no strikes. Got everything dried off for the second game, the championship game, which of course got delayed due to rain. 3 balls and no strikes. And that's a strike at the knees, 3-1. So, and of course it's at Green Bay, which is not a short distance from Grant County. So here is the 3-1 pitch. And that is another strike, and it's 3-2. That was lower than the previous one, but it is still a strike. 3-2 with 1 out. And a runner at second base. 4-1, Johnson Creek. 3-2 fouled off. And we will do 3-2 again. Aiden Smith is on deck. And what I distinctly remember is I left my house at 6:45 that morning. At 2:30, I was at the radio station taking everything out of every bag and box to dry. 3-2 pitch down the left field line, foul again. To air dry it out on the break table at Radio Ridge because nobody wanted to have that stuff sit for 2.5 months and then do a football game. What's wrong with it? This stuff smells horrible.
Yeah, that would not have been a pleasant surprise for whoever would have had the equipment next.
3-2 with 1 out. Walked back into my house at 2:55 in the morning. Swing and a well, actually a foul at the plate. And another 3-2 pitch coming up. But the right team won, so who cares, right?
Those are the sacrifices we make to make sure a championship comes home.
That's right. Including a 4-hour drive back to Platteville from Green Bay. That, of course, it was there because it was one of the COVID things,
right.
Of course.
Yeah, you couldn't play games in Dane County during that time, so it was UW Green Bay.
Another 3-2 pitch is low for ball 4. So Hartz walks first and second. Luke Hartz at second, Silas Hartz at first with one away, 4-1.
Now up, Aiden Smith.
And here is Aiden Smith, who walked and stole a base in the first inning. Johnson Creek with 4 in the first, and Barneveld with 1 in the second. First pitch is a called strike. Certainly Larson seems to have settled down from a first inning where he threw a lot of pitches. Curveball, that's a strike, and it's 0-2. Larson looks into his catcher and delivers the pitch, and that is hit to left center field, and that'll drop for a base hit. Rounding third and coming in to score is Luke Hart. Slides in, and now the throw to third base, and that gets away, but Silas Hart stays there. And meanwhile in all of that, Smith is at second. He will get an RBI.
Smith singles scores Luke Hartz.
Hartz makes it 5-1. That's his second run scored of the game.
Now up,
Silas Hartz at third. And at second base is Smith. Here's Heald, who grounded to short back to end the first inning. Ritchie Implement recognizes all high school athletes. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. Ritchie Implement, Cobb, Barneveld, Darlington, and Lancaster. And the first pitch is outside, pops away briefly from the catcher Owens, but not far enough for Hartz to consider going from third. 1 ball, no strikes. Now that pitch is downstairs and outside, 2 balls and no strikes. We're in the top of the third inning. And now a 5-1 lead for Johnson Creek. And here is the 2-0 pitch, curveball. And that is a strike, 2-1. Two-one pitch. And that gets the outside corner. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Colors of the game presented by Cuba City Family Dental note, by the way. The umpires were wearing black shirts the first 2 ball games. Now they're in powder blue. And that is hit foul down the third baseline. 2-2 with 1 out. The thing that is a little surprising is, don't you think they'd reverse that? That early when the sun was out, they would have worn the light blue and then wore the darker stuff now? Later in the day when you know the sun is not, even if it were out, which it isn't, it would be less hot, maybe?
One would think.
But what do I know, right? 2-2 with 1 out. And that's well hit to left field. That'll drop for a base hit. Hartz comes in to score. Smith around third. He will score standing up. 2-run hit for Heald. And it is 7-1 Johnson Creek.
Heald's double.
And it scored a double.
And Silas Hartz.
And here is Hartwig, who flied to center back in the second inning.
For Heald.
And a pinch runner in the game, A.J. Whitehouse, will run for the catcher Heald.
Up now, Doug Hartwig.
So
And
he's
now-
at second base.
Now a mound conference with Coach Schmitz and his infield, and I think we have a pitching change coming up.
That does appear to be the case. So we'll tell you that today's game brought to you by the Barneveld Booster Club. They wish our Eagles baseball team all the best in today's competition. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. The Barneveld Booster Club is proud to support all athletes in upholding our winning traditions both on and off the field. Go Eagles. Also brought to you by the Dodgeville Chronicle, Democrat Tribune, and Pecatonica Valley Leader, your weekly newspaper sports coverage for Dodgeville, Mineral Point, Barneveld, Iowa Grade, Highland, River Valley, Pecatonica, and Argyle schools. At Southwest Health's Eye Clinic, we specialize in advanced care for your eyes, from exams to surgery to glasses and everything in between. Helping you see life more clearly is always our number one priority. To learn more about Southwest Health's Eye Center, visit southwesthealth.org. Can you find that other read there, the one that you've been reading for us? Ty Thousand, who pitched and finished the game this morning, is now into pitch. He is a left-hander. And seems like with all left-handers, they never throw the ball straight, do they?
It doesn't appear so. It's, seeing the warm-ups here, it's kind of breaking ball pitches and kind of awkward deliveries and just some things to kind of mess with the hitter's eyes, you would think, too.
That is the idea.
Yep. Game today also brought to you by Complete Auto Glass, Glass America. They offer glass for all of your automotive repair needs. Complete Auto Glass, Glass America is proud to support Barneveld Athletics. Complete Auto Glass and Glass America in Verona.
See, I would have read that spot, but the problem is that my copy is on the phone that's being used right now for this broadcast. So we've had some interesting technical issues today, this is a brand new ballpark. You mentioned that it was still under construction when you were here for the volleyball sectional final.
Or it was still under construction when we were looking to see what our layout was going to look like and seeing what our cell phone reception and all that stuff was going to look like. And, obviously, because we don't have our stream on YouTube at this exact moment, we were lied to.
Hartwood flied to center in the first, and he fouls the first pitch off and out of play. We are in the third inning, one out, and it is 7-1. Johnson Creek, and the pitch is outside, and it's 1-1 strike. Well, the explanation that I read once is, I have no idea how they came up with this, and I'm pretty dubious about it, but, well, first the 1-1 pitch. And that bounces up there, and it's 1-2 strikes. The reason that left-handers never throw straight is because they're throwing opposite the rotation of the earth. That's the claim.
I'm sure there's science to back that up somewhere.
Yeah, right, sure. 2 balls and a strike. Rising fastball, that's popped up. And who's going to get it? Thousand, the pitcher gets it. 2 away. Back to the top of the order, and Joseph, who grounded to short in the first and then doubled in the second inning. I mean, it's weird. And actually, where it shows up more, not so much with pitchers, but with quarterbacks who are left-handers, where it just seems like every throw that they make has a twist to it. 2 away, top of the third inning. 7-1. Johnson Creek, and the first pitch is outside for ball 1.
How about left-handed shooters for basketball too? It's kind of an unnatural, defense too.
Ball goes in the opposite spin than you would think. 1-0 pitch upstairs, 2 balls and no strikes. I mean, I think of Randy Johnson, for instance, or, practically any left-handed pitcher you can think of. 2 balls, no strikes, 2 out, runner at second. And that gets slung in there for a strike, and it's 2-1. Rain has stopped, I think. At least I haven't felt it recently.
For the moment.
Yeah, for the moment. That's the other thing. 2-1. And that grazes the outside corner for a strike, and it's 2-2. Well, we're not done because coming up on Thursday, state softball, Cuba City and Auburndale. 6:10 start from the Goodman Diamond in Madison on Super Hits 106. And if Cuba City wins, they will be playing either Coleman or Fall Creek as time is called. Interesting thing about the Division 4 field, brand new, by the way, because it's a 5-division, or no, it's not. It is a 5-division tournament. It is the first time for all 4 teams at state. Curved in there, that's off the backstop. And Tyler again checks to see if we're frozen or not. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Froze. Yep.
With 2 out. It's going to be an interesting view, I'm sure, on the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel after the game.
Our heads are cut off right now.
2-2 and fouled off again off the backstop.
This one we're good, though.
Go figure. That was a little bit higher. Maybe
Yeah.
that was why. Not quite as much vibration back down to the camera.
Our camera can't fail us now.
Right. Here, no. 2-2 with 2 out. We've been here this long. High, and it's off the glove of Owen, the catcher, and the throw to third is not in time. So that's a passed ball moving Whitehorse. The courtesy runner to third, and it's 3 balls, 2 strikes. Herman is on deck. Excuse me. 3-2 with 2 out. Thousand leans in. And now ready. And delivers the 3-2 pitch. Struck him out. Well, 2 more runs end up or 3 more runs end up scoring on one,
Middle of the third, the
2,
Blue Jays
3
now
hits,
lead, 7-1.
and 1 runner remaining. And after 2.5, Johnson Creek 7, Barneveld 1 on 97.7 Country WGLR. Two, 3, 4 batters in the bottom of the third inning. Helgeson,
Casey Helgeson,
Owens, and Fishnick. 7-1. Johnson Creek in front. Dulos in Lancaster invites you to party like it's 1999, their 25th anniversary Fireman's Dance Street Party, Saturday, June 22nd. The first pitch fouled off for strike 1 behind the Barneveld dugout. Enjoy live music by Miami Bay and all the fun at Doolittle's in Lancaster. We won't mention how old Miami Bay is because I remember when they were an original band in the late 80s. 1 strike. That's hit foul behind us and 2 strikes. Tri-County Posse Baseball, quality experiences for players and parents while developing athletes on and off the field. Todd Carl, former pro in the Marlins and Cubs organizations, helps guide players to their maximum potential on the Posse's travel baseball and softball teams. Learn more at TriCountyPosseBaseball.com. The pitch is outside and low, 1 ball, 2 strikes. And here is the pitch, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Helgeson fans, 1 out. Here's Owens, who walked back in the first inning. Anderson, Weber, Toyota, and Dubuque powering our audio stream. Anderson, Weber, Toyota, and Dubuque when you are ready. We're also brought to you by BioVet, your trusted partner in supplying microbial and nutritional support for livestock. Find them at bio-vet.org. Owens walked in the second, and that pitch gets away briefly, but it's a swing and a miss, 1 strike. Smith on the mound, who relieved Bredlow last inning. And that pitch is outside. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Healed the catcher doing the Tony Pena thing where he had his right leg stretched all the way down the first baseline trying to get that outside corner. Fouled off. And, of course, what did it hit? Again, the backstop. But it did not freeze the camera?
Yeah, no, we're good.
How's that possible?
I see movement.
1 and 2 with 1 out. That would be a good sign that it is not, in fact, frozen.
Again, make sure you subscribe to the Queen Bee Radio Sports YouTube channel and watch the video stream after we're done because you can see all the hijinks that's happening here.
1 and 2, and it's outside, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Well, it wouldn't be an adventure if everything went according to plan, right? 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out. And the pitch. Fouled off again. And once again, Barneveld has obviously gotten the strategy, and they've done this for a lot of the season after that first loss to Pecatonica, to extended bats. And in the pitch count world, Lance Schmitz was saying it's absolutely critical to do that. And that curve almost hit Owens, and it's 3 balls and 2 strikes. Fishnick on deck. Here he is, the 3-2 pitch. That's outside, ball 4. Owens walks for the second time. And here is Fishnick, who lined out to second to end the first inning. They've had their opportunities, Barneveld had. They haven't had a lot of them, but they were able to score in the second inning. They've had runners now on
Fishnick.
in every inning. And Fishnick lines a base hit to left field. And holding at second is Owens. Fishnick gets the base hit. Just the second hit of the game for the
with a single.
Eagles.
Now
And here is
Schlimgen.
Schlimgen, who popped out to first in the second inning. I think I feel raindrops again. But we were prepared for this. Here's the first pitch. Fouled off at the plate for strike 1, and that hurt Schlimgen. He is going to walk it off. He fouled it off himself. Community First Bank, for you the communities where you live, work, and play. Experience for yourself the difference at Community First Bank, cfbank.com, member FDIC. 2-1 pitch, chopped up the middle and fielded by the shortstop. The throw to first is in time, and it is a Tri-County Posse double play. 6-4-3. Our first to the ball game, and that quickly ends the third inning.
Blue Jays 7.
1 hit and 1 walk,
Eagles 1.
1 left. And after 3 in the sectional final, Johnson Creek 7, Barneveld 1 on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Straight out and straight up with the
special savings. Choose from the WIAA milking unit or the classic 300 e-milking unit, both available with a GQ liner package. Plus, savings unit swap cheddar cup too. Contact Old Butter Center, LLC, your Gia dealer in Lancaster and Richland Center to find out how you can save big trading out and trading up on new Gia milking equipment technology. 24/7, 365. Myers Heating and Cooling is your trusted residential heating and cooling system service provider. Getting Myers Comfort Club for peace of mind throughout the year and around the clock. Myers Heating and Cooling in Lancaster. Don't worry, we got this. In Game 7.
Grand Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school baseball presented by Wolf Construction and Myers Heating and Cooling in the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country
Leading
WGLR.
off for the Blue Jays,
Top of the
Tanner
fourth
Herman.
inning, 2-3-4 batters, Herman, Holland, and Bredlow. 7 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for Johnson Creek. 1 run, 2 hits, no errors for Barneveld. Johnson Creek's left 3 aboard, and Barneveld has left 3 aboard. And Herman takes outside ball 1 from Thousand. Herman walked and scored in the first, struck out in the second inning. As the sprinkles have returned, that pitch bounced up there, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Kind of funny that this was supposed to be a 3 o'clock start for the championship game, and, well, that didn't happen.
That certainly did not.
Fastball misses, and it's 3 balls, no strikes. The first game got started late at 10:30 instead of 10 o'clock, but more to the point, ran about 2.5 hours almost. That's outside ball 4. So Herman walks for the second time today, and here is Holland, who had an RBI single and scored in the first inning and flied to right in the second. Holland, a left-handed hitter. We alluded to this before. The schedule for the state baseball tournament is different this year. Previously, and that's a called strike from Thousand. Previously, they would fit 6 games into each of the first 2 days, or try to, and then you'd have 4 championship games the next night. Thousand throws to first, and back to first is Herman. Well, there's 2 things that can mess up that schedule, and it started at 8 o'clock for the first Division 4 game, and the first Division 1 quarterfinal the day before. The next pitch fouled off, and it is 2 strikes. So the first game was supposed to start at 8. The last game was supposed to start at 8:30. That was the old schedule. Well, as you can imagine, there's 2 things that might mess up that schedule. Number 1 is weather. Number 2 is long games. Curveball, and that is hit to right field, or center field, excuse me. And the catch is made in deep center field by Marks. 1 away, and back to first is Herman. Here's Bredlow, who walked and scored
Dylan Bredlow
in the first inning, struck out looking in the third. Great Regional Health Center's ortho team, Dr. Brad Binsfeld and Nate Stocco, PEC, provide exceptional care for sports-related injuries. Great Regional Health Center, experience the difference. Thousand's first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. Throw to first. Getting back in plenty of time was Herman. So at any rate, you can imagine that that schedule would be messed up by rain delays and by long games, to the point where, pause for the 1-0 pitch, and that's a strike, and it's 1-1, and again a throw to first. There were a few instances. The first one was in, I think, 2005, where the Division II semifinal, the second game, started at 11:30 at night. 1-1 pitch, curve that misses, and it's 2 balls and a strike. And then that happened where the game started after midnight. It always affected Division II. So the WIA decided, well, we're not starting games after midnight anymore. Okay, well, then what do you do? Here's the 2-1 pitch. That is hit fouled on the right field line, out of play, 2-2. Well, then now we're having to find an alternate site for games that end up being delayed to the next day, basically. 2-2 with one out. And a throw to first. Herman is back in time. So they would end up, let's see, they played at the American Legion baseball field, which is not far from Fox City Stadium. I think they played in Oshkosh and I think in Fond du Lac one year as the alternate site. Runner goes, pitches the ball, throw to second, and a stolen base for Herman. He is at second base with one out, and it's 2 balls and a strike. Excuse me, 2 balls and 2 strikes. In fact, when Cuba City went to state 2 seasons ago, you may remember that the most of the Cuba City game and then all of the St. Croix Falls game, the second game, was played under a tornado watch, and they didn't even try to play Division II. Those games moved to the next day, and that pitch is a called strike, and down goes Bredlow, 2 out. And here is Luke Hartz, doubled with an RBI and scored in the first,
Up now, Luke
and
Hartz.
doubled and scored in the third inning. So 2 doubles, 2 runs scored, and an RBI for Luke Hartz. And the first pitch is a curve at the knees for strike 1. So they ended up moving the Division II games that played at 9 o'clock in the morning, and then when they got done, they got moved back to Fox City Stadium for the championship game. That pitch is in the dirt and backhanded nicely by Owen. 1 ball, or now did it hit him? Well, Hartz is hit, so he's at first. Herman at second.
Silas Hartz.
Now Silas Hartz, who grounded to third the first, walked and scored in the third inning. 7-1. Johnson Creek over Barneveld. 2 outs, top of the fourth. We'll have the Peterson Agency halftime report after this half inning. So as you can imagine, the WIAA got kind of tired of alternate site games during state, and they just decided, can we do 4 days? And evidently the stadium authority said, yeah, that'd be fine. Called strike, and it's 1-1. So games will start at 9 o'clock. There will be 4 scheduled games a day, and I think the other session is at 2. Won't be any night games anymore that are regularly scheduled, but they'll be able to play at night in case of bad weather, obviously. And that is hit to right field, a base hit. Rounding third, and coming in to score is Herman. That makes it 8-1.
Singles scores Herman.
Hartz gets an RBI.
Up now, Aiden Smith.
Luke Hartz gets to third. All of this with 2 out. And an 8-1 Johnson Creek lead. Myers Heating and Cooling, servicing Southwest Wisconsin since 1999. Myers Heating and Cooling, where they say, don't worry, we got this. 1,000 pitches, runner goes, pitch a swing and a miss. And the throw in, nobody was at second base. Well, actually, the throw didn't go to second. It went to the second baseman. So it is a stolen base, and Hartz elected the other Hartz over at third, decided not to try to come home. 1 strike, and that pitch is outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mound City Bank's total line of credit allows you to use the equity in your home to do the things you want. Stop in at Mound City Bank to apply. Offer subject to approval. Member FDIC and equal housing lender. Learn more at moundcitybank.com. 1-1 from 1,000. Swing and a miss. 1-2. Russell Offices here to assist you as your local legal representation. Call for a consultation to discuss personal injury, estate planning, family law, criminal defense, probate administration, and more. Proudly serving Southern Wisconsin. Russell Law Offices. 1-2 with 2 out. And the pitch from 1,000, just outside, and maybe a little high, 2-2. Tri-County Posse Baseball. The Posse will be holding baseball and softball tryouts for their 2025 travel teams the weeks of July 7th and 14th at the Tri-State area's newest premier indoor facility, the old My Tires in Platteville. That's fouled off. Still 2-2. Sign up at tricountypossebaseball.com. We're at the top of the fourth, 2 out. 1 run is in. It is 8-1 Johnson Creek. Number 1 ranked in Division 3 or Division 4. Time called now as Smith stepped out and now he's back in. And now 1,000 steps off the mound, the pitching rubber, and now steps back on it. And Smith steps back in.
And the rain is back.
2-2 pitch, curve. Well, that would have hit me if it wasn't for the screen sitting here. 2-2 again. Well, it would have gone over my head. That's an exaggeration because it was actually higher than a. But if I was standing up, it would have hit me. 2-2 with 2 out. And a runner at second. Outside and low, right on the ground, as a matter of fact. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Healed. The catcher is on deck. Three and 2 with 2 out, runner at second. And the pitch. That's inside, ball 4. Well, that loads the bases, actually. Runners at third, Luke Hartz. Second, Silas Hartz, and Smith at first. And here is Healed, grounded to short. Healed to short, grounded to short in the first inning. And then a 2-run double in the third inning. 8-1 in favor of host Johnson Creek in the top of the fourth. That pitch is outside for ball 1. It is sprinkling, and maybe a little harder than sprinkling, but that's all. And hard to tell from the clouds if it's going to be more than this or not. 1-0 pitch. That's upstairs. 2 balls and no strikes. Thousand now having problems getting that third out. 2 balls, no strikes. With 2 out and bases loaded. And that's popped up. And the catch at the pitcher's mound is made by the second baseman, Fishnick, to end the inning. But 1 more run comes in.
Halfway through the fourth.
On
Scores now Blue Jays
1 hit,
8,
a hit batter,
Eagles
and 2
1.
walks. 3 left. Middle of the fourth inning, halfway through. And our score is 8-1. Johnson Creek on 97.7 Country WGLR.
In Game 8, speeding and reckless driving are leading causes of injuries and deaths on Wisconsin roadways. Whether you're an athlete or a spectator, control your drive on our streets, county roads, and highways to keep all travelers safe. Don't speed. Don't be reckless. Zero in Wisconsin. Together, we can save lives. This message from the Queen Bee Radio family of stations and the WIAA. The Peterson Agency in Argyle knows that you run a business. You know the most valuable things are also the hardest to get. Your business didn't grow overnight. It came from years of hard work, confidence in what you could do, and making smart decisions. That's when insurance policy from West Bend makes sense. It protects your valuable and hard-earned business, so you can focus on doing what you do best. And it's all backed by the knowledge and experience of the Peterson Agency. To find out more, contact the Peterson Agency in Argyle, 608-543-4354. In Game 8.
Time for the Peterson Agency halftime report presented by the Peterson Agency in Argyle. Brian Peterson specializes in home, farm, auto, and umbrella policies. Well, from the perspective of Barneveld fans, this is not going as well as the first game did. It is 8-1 in favor of Johnson Creek. The Blue Jays, 4 runs in the first, 3 in the second, and 4 runs in the first, 3 in the third, and 1 in the fourth. And 1 run in the second inning for Barneveld. I have to apologize because
Ty Thousand.
turns out Ty Thousand is not the pitcher that came in to replace the starter Hunter Larson. It's actually Hunter Schmid, who is a senior. Came in 3-2 with a 3.44 ERA, 172 OPS, 20 games, 15 hits. One more time. 8 games, 5 starts, 20 in the third innings, 20 hits, 15 runs, 10 earned, walked 15, struck out 24. They're both left-handers, so that's my confusion, but sorry about that. And a swing and a miss. Thousand evens the count with a miss at 1-1. This is, I guess, my excuse is that's what happens when you have white numbers on gold jerseys. Hit well to center field, but coming in is the center fielder, Luke Hartz, to make the catch, one away. I suppose I could have kept saying that, well, it's Thousand pitching because this is radio, but the problem is you got that, and that would also be not accurate. Here's Larson. Started the game pitching. He singled and got to third on an error and a stolen base, and he swings and misses for strike one. 0-1 pitch is outside, and it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Today's game brought to you by Doodles in Lancaster, and they invite you to party like it's 1999 at their 25th anniversary street dance. That's a called strike, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fireman's Dance Street Party, Saturday, June 22nd. Enjoy live music by Miami Bay and all the fun at Doolittle's in Lancaster. 2 balls and 2 strikes. My misreading there is what happens when you've got stuff covered in order to...
Stuff's covered, stuff's wet. It's just kind of a mess here.
Well, it's not that bad. 2-2 with 1 out. Chopped down the third base line foul. We have Brewers baseball on the air right now. Brewers in Philadelphia. And that is on AM 1590 WPVL. Well, here we go. Here's the helicopter. It's not even that wet at the moment, but I guess it's ready just in case. 2-2 with 1 out, swing and a miss. Strike 3. 2 away. And here is Beaker, who struck out back in the 2nd inning. Today's game brought to you by Claire Bank, with their 8 convenient locations in Southwest Wisconsin, proud to support our community events. Claire Bank, where they say we can do that, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. Eight 1 in favor of Johnson Creek. 2 outs in the bottom of the 4th inning. First pitch, a sweeping curve for ball 1. Aiden Smith in relief of the starter, Bredlow. We know that's right. Next pitch, a swing and a miss. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. Given the fact that Schmid and Thousand are both left-handers, everything we said before about left-handers not throwing straight does still apply. Called strike, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. The other oddity, of course, and when you get to Major League Baseball, is how long left-handed pitchers last. That is a curveball outside, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. You think of, for instance, Jamie Moyer, pitched into his 40s.
Along with left-handed knuckleballers last.
In their 50s, probably. There's
Eternity,
some probably
yeah.
still pitching in the Mexican League. 2-2 with 2 out. Line to left field, and that'll be a base hit. And holding at first with a long single is Beaker. And here is Shipman, who walked back in the 2nd inning. The Dodgeville Chronicle, Democrat Tribune, and Pecatonica Valley Leader, your weekly newspaper sports coverage for Dodgeville, Mineral Point, Barneveld, Iowa, Grant, Highland, River Valley, Pecatonica, and Argyle schools. 8-1. Johnson Creek, 2 out bottom of the 4th, throw to first. And back in plenty of time is Beaker. Be helpful if I put that down on the score sheet that he got a base hit. Chop foul and just misses. Today's game brought to you by Tyler.
Complete Auto Glass. Glass America offers glass for all of your automotive repair needs. Complete Auto Glass. Glass America is proud to support Barneveld Athletics. That's Complete Auto Glass. Glass America in Verona.
1 strike, 2 out. Runner first. Curveball, and that is a strike at the knees, and it's quickly 2 strikes with 2 out. It's been sprinkling on and off for about the last, 3-4 innings. 3 innings. It didn't start like that. The pitch is outside, just missed the outside corner, and it is 1 ball, 2 strikes with 2 out. Again, Cuba City and Auburndale at State. Those 2 teams, two of the 4 teams in Division 4 go to State for the first time. Strike 3. And Shipman strikes out looking to end the inning. 1 hit, 1 left.
The 4th, Blue Jays lead.
And after 4, in the sectional final in Johnson Creek. Johnson Creek 8, Barneveld 1 on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Parents, with Progressive collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog. But there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face after accidentally stepping on their tail, and you think, "I'm sorry, Mr. Pickles, but I can't fix this now. It's not this now." You know, Mr. Pickles is thinking, "This is crazy." Anyway, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at Progressive.com.
Leading off for the Blue Jays, Doug Hartwig.
Great Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of WIAA playoff baseball on 97.7 Country WGLR, brought to you by Myers Heating and Cooling, the Myers Home Comfort Store, and Wolf Construction. That is grounded to short, and an off-balance throw to first, not in time. Nice play there, but it is an infield single for Hartwig.
Hartwig with
to
the
start
single.
the top of the 5th inning. 8-1.
Up now, Taylor
Johnson
Joseph.
Creek back to the top of the order, and Joseph, who grounded to short in the first, doubled in the second, struck out in the 3rd inning. Richie Implement recognizes all high school athletes. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. Richie Implement, Cobb, Barneveld, Darlington, and Lancaster. 1 ball, no strikes. Hunter Schmid on the mound in relief, and he pops it up. Herman pops it up. And it's dropped in the outfield. The throw to second is not in time. Well, how are they going to score that? I guess they're going to call it a base hit.
Up now, Tanner Herman.
If there was such a thing as a team error, that's what that would have been, but nobody touched it, so it goes as a base hit, 2 aboard and nobody out. In the bottom of the 5th inning, the Barneveld Booster Club wishes our Eagles baseball team all the best in today's competition. High school athletics offers it opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. The Barneveld Booster Club proud to support all area athletes in upholding our winning traditions both on and off the field. Go Eagles. Herman grounds it down the 3rd baseline at a power bunt, and the throw to first is not in time, and the throw to first, or no throw made to the plate, so a run scores. And I guess that's an infield single.
Herman single.
And a run scored.
Drives in Hartwig.
It's 9-1. Joseph at second, and The PA guy is obviously right next to the dugout for Johnson Creek on the third base side, because every time they're saying stuff because they're excited about how things are going, it comes across on the PA system. Looks like we're going to have a pitching change here. And I think we'll tell you that today's game brought to you by Southwest Health. At Southwest Health Eye Center, we specialize in advanced care for your eyes. From exams to surgery to glasses and everything in between, helping you see life more clearly is always our number one priority. To learn more about Southwest Health's Eye Center, visit southwesthealth.org.
Up now, Zach Holland.
Zach Holland singled and scored in the first, flied to right in the second, singled to center in the fourth. It's 9-1. Johnson Creek in front of Barneveld. Curveball, and that is hit to center field. And on the run, trying to get it, and getting it, is the center fielder Marks. Great running catch for him. One away, and the runners hold at first and second. Now Bredlow, who walked and scored in the first inning and struck out looking in the third and the fourth.
Just to clarify, there was no pitching change. The pitcher's still out on the mound. Coach Schultz was just having a conversation with the first base umpire about the previous call on that bunt.
First pitch is hit down the right field line. That's going to drop for a base hit. That'll score another run as Joseph scores to make it 10-1. RBI single for Bredlow.
Bredlow single drives in.
And
Joseph.
Runner at third now is
Up
Herman.
now, Luke Hartz.
And here is Hartz. Luke Hartz doubled and scored with an RBI in the first, doubled and scored in the third, hit by a pitch in the fourth. 10-1, Johnson Creek, and obviously if that runner at third scores, now we're talking 10-run rule possibly. Runner goes, and the pitch is hit fouled on the first base line for strike one. Again, Johnson Creek is, well, everybody's trying to get to state at this point in things. They're the number one ranked team. And again, kind of unusual in the sense that they did not win their conference. They lost actually 4 games, came out of 23-4, and yet they're ranked number one. Swing in a miss at the plate. Or was that a foul or what? Somebody call something. And now the home plate umpire is going to go talk to the base umpire.
Yeah, because if it was a foul ball, the runner's got to go back to first. And they say it is a foul ball, so the runner will go back, and it's runners at the corners for Johnson Creek.
And everybody walks back to where they were previously. Clearbank with their 8 locations, convenient locations in Southwest Wisconsin, proud to support our community events. Clearbank, where they say we can do that, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. 2 strikes with 1 out. 1 run in, it's 10-1. Johnson Creek and runners at first and third, and the pitch is outside. And it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Here is the 1-2. Curve, and it's hit to left center field. And coming over is Marks. He makes the catch. Runner takes from third and comes in. That is Herman. Scores his second run. Actually, yes. No, his third run of the day.
Luke's fly out. Scores Herman.
So it's an RBI
Now up. Silas
fly out.
Hartz.
And now Silas Hartz, who grounded to third in the first, walked and scored in the third, and then singled an RBI single in the 4th inning. And the first pitch is outside for ball 1. 2 out in the top of the 5th inning. And the pitch is downstairs. And it's 2 balls, no strikes. Obviously, Barneveld is going to have to score at least 1 in the bottom of the 5th inning to keep this game going. Here's the 2-0 pitch. And that's inside for ball 3. The throw to first, not in time. Back to first is Bredlow. And meanwhile, 3 balls and no strikes to Silas Hartz. And the pitch is a called strike, and the throw to second, not in time. So a stolen base for Bredlow. He's at second. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike to Silas Hartz. Well, it seems to be lightening where the rain was coming in.
As in, it's getting brighter. There's not actual lightning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said lightening as I tried to stretch it out. Swing and a miss, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Because if it was lightning out, I don't think we would not be talking about a 3 ball and 2 strike, 2 out pitch coming up. The 3-2. And that is hit back to the pitcher, and Schmid tosses to first, and that ends the inning. But 3 runs come across.
Middle of the 5th. Blue Jays now lead 11-1.
4 hits, 1 runner remaining. And Barneveld needs 1 run to keep the game going. It's 11-1, Johnson Creek on 97.7 Country WGLR.
While Steve tries to figure out our connection here, it's a 1-0 count to the leadoff hitter for Barneveld in the bottom of this
5th inning. That is Marks. Marks grounded second in the first, fly to right in the second. 11-1, Barneveld trailing. And again, they need a run, otherwise this game ends and the Barneveld season ends. We're not sure what our problem is on 97.7 Country. We are still streaming, 3 balls and a strike, or at least we're recording streaming. 3-1 with nobody out. Here's the 3-1 pitch, and that's hit well to left center. And it's over the head of the left fielder, Holland, and going for 2. And getting in is Marks with a double. That makes him 1 for 3 today.
Marks with a double. Next up, Casey Helgeson.
Here is Helgeson, who grounded to third in the first inning and then struck out in the 3rd inning. time is called. Dodgeville Chronicle, Democrat Tribune, and Pecatonica Valley Leader, your weekly newspaper sports coverage for Dodgeville, Mineral Point, Barneveld, Iowa Grande, Highland River Valley, Pecatonica, and Argyle schools. There's the first pitch. That is a strike on the outside corner to Helgeson. Richie Implement recognizes all high school athletes. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. Richie Implement, Cobb, Barneveld, Darlington, and Lancaster. That's it back up the middle, and that'll be a base hit. Rounding third, holding there is Marks. And so Helgeson with a single. And here is Owens, who has walked twice in the first and in the third.
Trenton Owens.
11-1, Johnson Creek with nobody out in the bottom of the fifth inning. Again, Barneveld needs a run to keep the game going. And that's a called strike. The Barneveld Booster Club wishes our Eagles baseball team all the best in today's competition. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. The Barneveld Booster Club, proud to support all area athletes and upholding our winning traditions on and off the field. Go Eagles. That pitch is outside, 1 ball, 1 strike. Nobody out, bottom of the fifth. And the 1-1 pitch, that's upstairs, 2 balls and a strike. Here's the 2-1. That is almost thrown past the catcher, Heald. 3 balls and a strike. And despite the 11-1 lead, Smith is 1 pitch away from loading the bases. Here's the 3-1. Hit foul down the right field line and out of play, 3-2. Fishnick, the cleanup hitter, is on deck. Here comes the 3-2 pitch. Runner goes, and it's popped up. And running back to first, and who's going to catch it here? And now a runner, catch is made, run scores, and we're going to keep going here. 1 out. Helgeson gets back to first, but Marks comes in to score, so it's 11-2. As no longer a 10-run rule danger. And the first pitch is upstairs for ball 1 to Fishnick, who lined to second in the first, singled in the third, but was on the front end of a Tri-County Posse baseball double play. Here's the 2-strike pitch, popped up and to right center, and that catch is made 2 away. Now Schlimgen, who popped to first in the second and hit into that double play in the third inning. And that pitch is hit to left field and caught by the left fielder Holland. And that ends the inning, and I guess we'll stay here. 1 run scores. 2 hits and 1
Blue Jays 11.
runner remaining, and it is 11-2. Johnson Creek leading. And as mentioned, we'll have state softball coming up Thursday. Cuba City and Auburndale from the Goodman Diamond at UW-Madison, place I've never been to. Because softball did not exist as a varsity sport when I was a UW student in the 80s. Baseball did. That's not around anymore, but softball is. And that is where Cuba City will be making its first state tournament appearance Thursday, 6:10 start on Super Hits 106. Top of the 6th inning, 11 runs, 11 hits, and 1 error for Johnson Creek. For Barneveld, 2 runs, 5 hits, no errors. The Blue Jays have left 7 runners on base, and the Eagles have left 5 runners on base through 5 innings. And Hunter Schmidt's still on the mound. He replaced the starter Larson. Now, there is an interesting kind of, I suppose you could put it, side point to this with Bredlow, the starting pitcher. He, by the rules of baseball, cannot, even though he started the game, and even though they were leading when he left, he hasn't pitched enough to be the starting pitcher. Okay, and the first pitch is, meanwhile, ball 1. Next pitch is fouled off, or actually that's a ball that got away from the catcher, Owen. 2 balls, no strikes. And the next pitch is popped down the right field line, and that will go for a base hit. And Smith aboard. He has been aboard actually every time that he's been up today. 2 for 2 with 2 walks and a run scored and an RBI. That in that 3rd inning. And now out comes Lance Schmitz, and it looks like we're going to have a pitching change here. While we try to get the radio tech to work. We'll have the Culver's cool down when we're done with a Tricor turning point, and it may have been very early in this ball game. Again, Brewers and, well, I suppose I could mention it. This is not a live stream, not a live YouTube stream. Well, I might as well mention, because, yeah, they're not going to be, it'll be done by the time people see this video, but the Brewers will be on Friday, actually Wednesday afternoon. Brewers at Philadelphia at 2:30 on AM 1590 WPVL. They'll also be on this weekend from Detroit. Old American League East opponent, of course, back when the Brewers were in the American League. 5:05 Friday on AM 1590 WPVL. And 2:35 Saturday and 12:05 Sunday on AM 1590 WPVL. Again, Thursday night, from the Badgers softball home facility, WIAA State Softball, Cuba City and Auburndale, 6:10 start on Super Hits 106. And as we mentioned, again, interesting that all 4 teams that are at state in Division 4, Coleman, Fall Creek, Auburndale, and Cuba City, they are all at state for the very first time. Fall Creek is the number 1 seed, and they're playing Coleman in the first game on Thursday at 4:10, and then it's Cuba City, the 2nd seed, and number 3 seed Auburndale after that, and that's when we'll be on Super Hits 106. Ty Thousand is now the pitcher. And the first pitch hits and definitely healed. That moves Smith to second. He got him on the ankle, it looked like, or maybe the foot. And so Thousand, who pitched in the first game and closed it out he goes.
Wagner out to pinch run.
It'll be Hayden Wagner.
Next up, Doug Hartwig.
To pinch run. And here's the 9th batter, Hartwig, who's flied out to center in the 2nd, popped to the pitcher in the 3rd, infield single and scored in the 5th inning. as the rain starts again. Why not? It is 11-2, and that ball hit to right field and caught. Neither runner will advance. The right fielder, Shipman, making the catch. One away. And now back to the top of the order, and Joseph,
Now up,
who
Taylor Joseph.
grounded to short in the first, doubled in the second, struck out in the third, singled and scored in the fifth inning. 11-2 in favor of Johnson Creek here in Johnson Creek, and the first pitch popped foul and off the backstop. And is the camera working? At least maybe that's working.
That appears to be working for now. Yep. Good there.
One strike. And the pitch. That gets away at the plate. It was inside, and both runners advanced second and third. And that'll be a wild pitch. Smith to third, and the pinch runner Wagner to second base. One out. And call a strike on the pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. We'll have the Culver's cool down after the game, whatever inning that is, in the 6th or the 7th. And the Tricor turning point, as we mentioned, probably quite early. Now, timer's called as the batter Herman steps out, or Joseph, excuse me, steps out. And now comes back in. Big curveball that misses. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Should we try a different phone, you think, or would that make a difference? Probably not, I suppose. 2-2 pitch. Chopped to short and dropped by the shortstop, and that'll score a run. It'll be an error that allows Joseph to get on and Smith to get in. Makes
Joseph's
it
error signal.
12-2.
Single. Scores Smith.
Wagner to third, so it's first and third.
Next up, Tanner Herman.
And still 1 out in the top of the 6th inning. And now throw to first. They've got the runner picked off. And the throw goes to second. And now it's a pickoff between third and the plate. And the ball is dropped. And now there's another pickoff going on back at second, and both runners get back. The ball was misfielded at home plate. They threw it to the plate, and it didn't roll far enough from the runner third to score. He was able to get back to third base. And so after all of that, it's second and third. Still only 1 out. And 12-2, Johnson Creek in front. And that pitch is grounded to third. The throw over to first to get the out, a run scores. So a 5-3 put out for the second out, but an RBI for Herman as Wagner scores.
Wagner.
And it's 13-2, and here's Holland. RBI single and a run scored in the first, fly to right in the second, fly to center in the fourth, and in the fifth. And the first pitch called strike. Oh! And here is the pitch. And that is hit to center field for a base hit. And the run scores. RBI single. Second RBI of the game.
Holland single.
Second hit of the game for Holland.
Joseph. Now up. Dylan
That makes
Bredlow.
it 14-2. And here is Bredlow. Walked and scored. RBI. Walked and scored the first. Okay, this ought to sound interesting. 1 strike, and the pitch hit to left field, and they'll drop in front of the left fielder for a base hit. Going to second is Holland. Second hit of the game for Brightlow. And it's first and second.
With the single. Now up Luke Hartz.
With 2 out. And we appear to have really messed up the phone system somehow from Johnson Creek or something like that. 2 away, meanwhile, and a ground ball to third. And now that's going to be a base hit as the ball is misfielded by the third baseman.
Luke with the error single.
And so the base hit, which
now
is the
Silas
third for Hartz. He's 3 for 3 today, and now Silas Hartz, who is 1 for 2. Grounded to third in the first. And the pitch is 2 balls and no strikes. This is the 9th batter, Silas Hartz. And the pitch is a called strike, and it's 2 balls, 1 strike, 2 out. 14-2 in favor of Johnson Creek in the top of the 6th inning with 2 out. And that pitch is low, or called strike at the knee. 2-2 with 2 out. Two and two with 2 out. And the pitch. Chop foul at the plate. We'll do it again, 2-2. Two and two with 2 out. Thousand, the third pitcher, the second left-handed pitcher for Barneveld today. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Outside, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Oh, and by the way, the bases are loaded.
It looks like we're coming back on the air pretty soon here. So,
Yep. 3-2 pitch, popped up, and that is hit to left field. And the catch actually made in center field. And that ends the inning, but 9 runners come to the plate.
Halfway through the 6th, the Blue Jays now lead 14-2.
And 3 more runs score, and it's 14-2. And I believe that was 3 hits and 2 errors. Bases loaded left. Bottom of the 6th inning, and it'll be Thousand, Larson, and Beaker scheduled. So in the bottom of the 6th inning, and Barneveld is going to need 3 runs to keep the game going. And if you're watching on YouTube, no, we are not restarting. I mean, we are, but not really restarting the broadcast. You haven't.
which break did we leave off on?
Believe it was break number 9.
Number 9.
Yes. So we should have 4 breaks and then the post-game breaks after all that. Well, welcome back from Johnson Creek. If you're a Barneveld fan, you haven't missed very much good news. It is now 14-2, Barneveld trailing Johnson Creek in the Johnson Creek sectional final. And so the Blue Jays, well, the Eagles are going to need 3 runs to keep the game going, if my math is right. Otherwise, the season ends and Johnson Creek gets to state. The Blue Jays
Leading
are
off,
looking for their first trip to state
9,000.
since 2018. Barneveld's last trip to state was back in 2011. Here is Thousand, who walked and scored in the 2nd inning, then fly to center in the 4th inning. And the first pitch fouled off for strike 1. Well, now that we got the tech working, all the tech working again, you notice the skies have cleared a little bit coming from the south. That pitch is downstairs, 1 ball and 1 strike. If I'm not mistaken about this, but the orientation of this park is northwest to southeast. We're sitting in the northwest corner of the diamond, looking out to center field, which is the southeast. And that pitch misses outside. 2 balls and a strike.
We should probably bring everyone back up to speed. When we went off the air, it was 11-1 heading into the bottom of the 5th, and then it was Barneveld that got the run to force us into the 6th inning.
That ball is hit well to center field. And going back, the center fielder makes the catch. Luke Hart's 1 away. Johnson Creek 4 runs in the first, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 3 in the 5th, and 3 in the 6th. And Barneveld 1 run in the 2nd and 1 run in the 5th. And that's what extended the game, that run in the bottom of the 5th inning. And the first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. And that was the RBI single by Helgeson in the bottom of the 5th inning that kept things going. That's a called strike, 1-1. Well, I'm not quite sure what happened with our phone, the phone connection. And again, we apologize for the technical issues on 97.7 Country WGLR. Pitch is grounded to third, backhanded, and a long throw, and in time. Wow.
What a play.
Hartwig with a great throw. Greg Nettles would have been proud of that throw from third base, and Barneveld is down to its final out unless they can get 3 runs.
Landon Beaker.
Here's Beaker, who struck out in the 2nd and singled in the 4th. 14-2. Johnson Creek in front. First pitch is outside for ball 1. We'll have the Culver's cool down afterwards. Tricor turning point, which may have been in the 1st inning. One ball and no strikes. Smith, the pitcher, and it's outside. 1 ball, 2 balls and no strikes. Smith replaced the starting pitcher, who was Bredlow. And that's a called strike, 2-1. Bredlow wasn't going to go all the way anyway, most likely, because he finished the first game, but ended up getting taken out in the 2nd inning, and Smith has been on the mound ever since. Swing and a miss, and Barneveld is down to its final strike. 2-2 with 2 out. And here is the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and that's all. 1, 2, 3 in the 6th, and the Johnson Creek Blue Jays beat Barneveld 14-2 and will head to the state tournament. They will play at either 9 o'clock. Well, I have to think they're going to be the number 1 seed since they are ranked number 1, but that will be Tuesday morning, 9 o'clock. The Division 4 field starts, and Barneveld's season, which got all the way to the sectional final, ends at 16 wins and 6 losses. Again, the final score 14-2. Johnson Creek beats Barneveld. Back with more after this on 97.7 Country WGLR.
and leadwork.com. Brought to you by Gary Farmers of Wisconsin. In game 11.
Grand Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of WIAA playoff baseball presented by Myers Heating and Cooling, the Myers Home Comfort Store, and Wolf Construction on 97.7 Country WGLR. Barneveld's season comes to an end 14-2 in 6 innings to Johnson Creek. Blue Jays go to state. Today's game brought to you by Southwest Health at Southwest Health's Eye Center. We specialize in advanced care for your eyes to be able to see the sun coming out just now. From exams to surgery to glasses and everything in between, helping you see life more clearly is always our number one priority. To learn more about Southwest Health's Eye Center, visit southwesthealth.org. And
Also brought to you by Complete Auto Glass. Glass America offers glass for all of your automotive repair needs. Complete Auto Glass. Glass America is proud to support Barneveld Athletics. That's Complete Auto Glass. Glass America in Verona.
today's game also brought to you by Ritchie Implement, recognizing all high school athletes. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. Ritchie Implement, Cobb, Barneveld, Darlington, and Lancaster. And the Barneveld Booster Club wishes our Eagles baseball team all the best in today's competition. High school athletics offers opportunities for sportsmanship, leadership, and personal growth. The Barneveld Booster Club is proud to support all athletes in upholding our winning traditions, both on and off the field. Go Eagles. 14-2. Johnson Creek beats Barneveld, ends the season, and heads to state. Back with more after this on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Don't strike out with high fees. You want to People State Bank and keep your financial gain on target. People State Bank, member FDIC. This is a salute to the backbone of our nation, our farmers. At Grow Implement, we understand the dedication, the passion, and the hard work that goes into every harvest. From sunrise to sunset, generation after generation, families work together to feed the world. Grow Implement in Bloomington, Sioux City, Rockford, Mount Horeb, Kenora, Ladder, invite you and your family to attend this week's Grow County Dairy Breakfast, Sunday at Stone Front Farm, Lancaster. Heads up salon. Jerry, Jenny, Brittany, and Sydney at Heads Up do highlights, color, cut, print, and new barber services too. Heads Up Salon, North 7th Street, Lancaster. 24/7, 365. Myers Heating and Cooling is your trusted residential heating and cooling system service provider. Serving Myers Comfort Club for peace of mind throughout the year and round the clock. Myers Heating and Cooling in Lancaster. Don't worry, we got this.
Everson Auto Body and Taco is a proud sponsor of 97.7 Country WGLR's Farm Calendar. Email your ag events to Bob Mittenberg at WGLR.com. The Farm Calendar airs weekdays at 6:35 a.m. This message brought to you by Everson Auto Body and Taco. Our experienced staff will keep your vehicle in top condition and use top-quality parts to provide a high-quality repair and quick turnaround time. So bring in your new car, older car, foreign or domestic vehicle. Our Everson Auto Body and Taco today.
In game 13.
Grand Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. Johnson Creek over Barneveld 14-2 in 6 innings. Blue Jays go to state. Eagles season ends at 16 wins and 6 losses as one of the top 8 teams in Division 4. We'll be back after this on 97.7 Country WGLR.
In game 14. Bring the news of sports of WIAA licensed officials for a number of high school sports in Wisconsin. We appreciate those who have committed their time and effort to ensure we maintain education-based athletics. Because without officials, there are no games. Please don't hesitate. If you want an exciting and rewarding experience, it's also a great way to earn more than a few dollars. Get licensed as a contract official today by accessing the official tab at WIAA.wi.org to get started. A message from Community Radio and the WIAA, seeking education in sports. Your farm is your home and business. An investment with protecting. If you can agency of Barneveld and Eastern Mutual Insurance Company, we look to bring you experienced know-how and professional service to be your friend. This team of professionals has Peterson Agency and Hastings Mutual offer complete farm coverage for your home, buildings, and equipment. Offers coverage for recreational vehicles, farm liability, and workers' compensation.
Grant Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of WIAA Playoff Baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. Johnson Creek goes to state 14-2 in 6 innings over Barneveld. The Culver's Cool Down post-game show presented by Culver's in Dubuque, Goleta, and Platteville follows these messages on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Times have changed since Mom first created Culver's double Butterburger Deluxe, but one thing sure hasn't.
Frank, what would you like to say at the same time? This is a Butterburger. French beef, never frozen, made to perfection, topped with real Wisconsin cheese on a lightly buttered bun.
Hungry? Stopping for one today. It's time for the Culver's Cool Down Postgame Show, brought to you by Culver's in Dubuque, Goleta, and Platteville. If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans that just for you. Like 2 months talk text and data for $30 a month. That's a 25% savings versus Verizon and AT&T. Experience all this and more on America's largest 5G network. At T-Mobile, customers 55 and up can get 2 months talk text and data for just $30 a month. Switch today.
Hey there, parents. With Progressive Collision coverage, you get extra protection for your cat or dog. But there's nothing worse than seeing your pet hurt. Like when you see their face, accidentally stepping on their tail, and you think, I'm sorry, Mr. Pickle. But it's Mr. Pickle. Not this one. Oh, golly, golly. Mr. Pickle is thinking, what's the truth? Anyway, Progressive pays up to $1,000 in vet bills if your pet is injured in an auto accident. Learn more at progressive.com and Progressive doesn't mean something available. Collision coverage that is made because of liability and safety.
Grant Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school playoff baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. Was not the ending that Barneveld obviously wanted, but they had a great season regardless. 14-2, Johnson Creek the winner. And the number 1 ranked team in Division 4 moves on to the state tournament. They will play in Fox City Stadium in Appleton at, either at 9 o'clock if they're I can't believe they're going to be the number 4 seed. So if they're at the number 1 seed, it'll be about 9 o'clock. And if they lose, or if they're not the number 1 seed, it'll be about 11:30 or so at Fox City Stadium. And Barneveld's season again comes to an end. Johnson Creek with 4 runs in the first, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth, 3 in the fifth, and 3 in the sixth. And Barneveld single runs in the second and the fifth innings. The line score, Johnson Creek 14 runs, 14 hits, 1 error. They left 9 runners on base. And Barneveld 2 runs, 5 hits, 2 errors, 5 left on base. Bredlow, again, because he didn't pitch enough, can't be the winner, although he left with the lead in the second inning. So I guess Smith officially is the winner. And the starting pitcher, Larson, the first of the 3 for Barneveld, ends up being the loser. You can't really point at one thing. It's just that the pitching wasn't there, the hitting wasn't there, and the defense wasn't there today, the sectional final.
Well, the better team won. That's the best way to articulate it. Johnson Creek, the number 1 ranked team in the state, and deservedly so. In Division 4, they flexed their muscle today, scoring runs in essentially every inning of this game. And they did a great job of, extending at bats, getting base runners on, getting hits with 2 outs to make innings longer than, Barneveld would have hoped. Give credit where it's due. Johnson Creek just outplayed Barneveld today, and, that's what happens in baseball, or in any sport. When you get to this point in the season, you're the game away from going to state. Everyone here is good. You can look at all the seedings and say, some teams, might accidentally get to this point, but neither team, both teams deserve to be here. Both teams had outstanding seasons. It was just Johnson Creek's day here today, playing in their home field certainly helped their cause. They had a great crowd and a lot of support for them on their home field, and they were able to turn that into a sectional championship here today.
And Barneveld's season, as mentioned, ends at 16-6, and with that, the careers of the seniors Hunter Schmid, Trenton Owens, Casey Helgeson, and Braylon Leahy. Numbers-wise, that's not much, but obviously that's a lot of, among other things, pitching. But, well, their catcher also, but got a lot coming back, it looks like, next year.
Yeah, there's, a lot of returning players, and you hope that, this is, one of those games that catapults you to success the following season. We saw that with Cuba City softball. Last year, they got to this point. Last year, they're now playing at the state tournament, and I think if you're Coach Schmitz, you really have to like what you see. You took down your conference rival, earlier in the day, and I'm sure that there was a lot of, emotion and things that were, tied into that, but yeah, there's a lot of pieces, returning for Barneveld next year, and hopefully that, the pieces that are gone, they have some underclassmen or some players that can, fill in those gaps and turn that into an opportunity to go even deeper into the postseason next year, which obviously would be at Fox City Stadium.
14-2, Johnson Creek beats Barneveld in the sectional final. Back with more after this on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Your family's health is your top priority, and it's ours too. Grant Regional Health Center has your health in mind by growing and expanding to offer more services, more providers, and delivering better care for your entire family. From prenatal and obstetrics to emergency and preventative care, you don't have to look far. Turn to our experts for compassionate care right in your neighborhood. Grant Regional Health Center. Better health starts here. TriStar Malt has top quality products for your landscape storage and heating needs. See TriStar Malt for a wide variety of maltose, gravel, rock gravel, and decorative rock. We'll help you load yours or deliver with friendly professional service. See TriStar Malt for storage sheds in a variety of sizes and colors to perfectly match your landscape. See TriStar Malt in Todd and Peppo Monday through Saturday, and see them at tri-starmalt.com.
Grand Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. 14-2 in 6 innings. Johnson Creek defeats Barneveld to make a trip to state. Time for the it's been so long today that I forget. Oh, yeah, this is Tricor Turning Point, presented by Tricor Insurance. Insurance plans built for you, your family, your business. Contact Tricor Insurance today. The obvious one was the first inning with a 4-run first inning. But I kind of feel like it might have been, in a sense, the bottom of the second inning, because they finally got out of the first inning, Barneveld did, and they got a runner in, a runner to score, and on the RBI single by Larson. So it's 4-1, and they had a runner at third base, and so they had runners at first and third base. If you can get another one in or another couple in, maybe what happens after that is not quite the same.
Yeah, I would say for me the first inning, just because again you get 4 runs across, and those were really the 4 runs that all that Johnson Creek needed in this game. But like you said, that third inning where you kind of felt going into that third, it's a 4-1 game. Maybe Barneveld can have the bats come alive. Unfortunately for them today, that just wasn't the case, and it was just kind of a consistent barrage and a persistent offensive attack for Johnson Creek here today. So I have no issue with that being our turning point. I think it could be a combination of both the the first and second inning, where it was just the at bats for Johnson Creek kind of sandwiched Barneveld's chances of getting into this game. And give credit where credit's due. Johnson Creek had an outstanding game and continue to have an amazing season in Division 4.
So again, the number 1 ranked team in Division 4 heads to state, and that is the least upsetty, if that even is a word.
It is now.
all things considered, given the fact that Barneveld knocked off the number 4 seed Highland, and then today the number 2 seed Pecatonica and their conference arch rival. It's kind of funny that the number 1 seed and number 1 ranked team did actually get to state, so we'll obviously have to see, because we only had some scores for the semifinals as to who else in Division 4, but we may not be discussing that because we got softball to talk about, which we will bring up as we wrap up our Culver's Cool Down after these messages on 97.7 Country WGLR.
Do you remember the last time you checked your well water to see if it was safe to drink? Bacteria can leak into your well in as little as 6 months. The Department of Natural Resources recommends that you check your well annually for contaminants. LD Labs on South Madison Street in Lancaster, Wisconsin can test your water to make sure that what's in your glass is safe for you and your family to drink. Stop in or give them a call to pick up your free check kit today. Visit LD Labs on Facebook or call 608-723-4096. Queen Radio, along with the University of Wisconsin Capital, salute the class of 2024 on their excellence in education. Follow 97.7 WGLR, Superhost 106, and Extreme 107.1 on Facebook and the station website. As we salute the top students from area schools, their hard work has made a big difference in the class, school, and community. We congratulate all area graduates and wish you success in the Queen Radio and the University of Wisconsin Capital help celebrate and support excellence in education.
Grant Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of WIAA Playoff Baseball presented by Wolf Construction, Myers Heating and Cooling, and the Myers Home Comfort Store on 97.7 Country WGLR. Johnson Creek over Barneveld 14-2 in 6 innings. Season ends for the Eagles, but they're one of the 8 best teams in Division 4 because that's what you get when you get to the sectional final. Lance Schmitz, the Barneveld coach, joins us. Not a way you wanted to end, but there's not really a question of who the better team was today, right?
They tore it up, man. They just ripped the ball. We threw our best at them, and they just, man, it was just line drive, rocket after rocket. They are better than us. They are true. That's why they are the #1 ranked team in the state, and they showed it today. They pummeled people today. They did it. They've got more pitchers than we even saw out there today, and they were pounding strikes. They are a great team, very well coached, and hats off to Johnson Creek, and good luck for them next week up at the state tournament. We did everything we could, and I can't complain about that. We never gave up. We were down at that 110, and I'm just like, if you guys want to be done, you're done. Other than that, if you got to nibble a runaway to make this game going, they got that running. They're like, let's keep going, and I'm like, all right. And we always talk about these tournament games are usually won in that 5th, 6th, 7th inning, so never give up until that last out's made, and they made the last out, and they won. So nice job on Johnson Creek's part, and I have nothing negative to say on my dude's part. They gave it everything they had, and we had a tremendous season, so right where we want to be.
And I would think that a season like this, when it's kind of unexpected to make a long postseason run like you guys did. I mean, you were the number 5 seed. Number 5s don't usually, although this might be the exception this year, but number 5 seeds don't usually get to the sectional final, and you did. I have to think this probably ranks as a pretty special season for you for that reason.
Yes, always. Our goal every year is regional finals, sectionals. That's our goal. Conference champions are neat, but our goal is regional finals and sectionals. Sectionals is the number one thing to go after every year. You find out who is where they are. With the seeding, we had some really good teams in there with Riverdale, Peck, and Belmont. Belmont had a superior season, and then you find out real fast in the tournament how talented you are and what happens. And we had a few people attack our seeding, and that reaches out real quick. There's a couple of coaches that put us at a pretty tough spot and really attacked our schedule, and that doesn't go and bode very well because I've been around for a long time, and I know a lot of guys were talking to me, and they're like, who did this? And so they found out who it is, and these dudes are, it's a travesty that you don't understand baseball. It's travesty that you don't understand what a good team does and what wins mean compared to losses. And I hope you'll figure it out. I hope you learn. I've done this a long time, and I know you haven't done it as long as myself and some of the other guys, and I hope it's a very good learning process for you to figure out these good programs and these good teams that are consistently in the sectional. And I think this is my 11th sectional that I've been a part of, and you need to appreciate that and understand what people do in relationships, and we play certain teams on our schedule, and we do well against them, but you don't understand, like we play a Kickapoo, an Eric Weigel team that him and I have been friends for over 22 years, and we play them every year. I play Todd Kamlick up at Lafarge, and him and I have been friends for over 15 years, and we go travel with them, and don't ever attack them. Don't ever attack these other things for a few of these coaches, and they better figure it out real quick, or they're going to get lit up by some other people.
A couple of things real quick. First, you have, I believe, 4 seniors graduating. That's not a huge number, but those guys really were key to your team this year.
They were. Casey was our iron horse out there. He pitched that first game. I mean, when we played the Highland game, we played them at our place a week before, and I said, hey, do you want to get out there for an inning? He just looked at it and he goes, I don't need to. He said, I can see already they ain't going to touch me when we get into that regional. And they struggled. I mean, Highland's a very good team. Terry's a great coach out there. And then T.O.'s been our catcher for 4 straight years. We had piecemeal last year when he had a shoulder injury and had to have some surgery done on it. And we had Brock Moline back there, and he did everything we asked of him, but he's not quite T.O. And then we had Braylon. Braylon played in so many neat pieces for us last year, and then he had a shoulder injury from football. Hunter Schmid, he has been playing first base for us, left field, and he pitches for us. He's done everything, and he had a really good year too. We had 6 first-team all-conference players. We had 2 honorable mention players. We had great accolades, and when you have great accolades, you're gonna have a great team, and the kids get along. That's the biggest thing, and I enjoy going to practice. I enjoy going to games, and I guess when that quits being enjoyable is the day I'll have to pack it up and move on to the next game.
All right, one more question. What are you gonna remember about this season? Nice open-ended question.
Yeah. Regional final. That's where we want to be. It's just those last 2 weeks, a couple of those practices, a couple of them were like, what? And I'm just like, just trust me. I have done this a long time. You've got to just trust me. And they started changing a couple little things in their hitting, a couple little things in a receiving as they fielded the ball. And I'm like, just please trust me. And they came up and they're like, I can see the difference. I can feel the difference. And those little tweaks help out. Another neat thing is I've got 3 coaches on this team that have boys that play on our team. I have 2 of my coaches that played in these sectionals, and one actually was in the state tournament for us, and now his son is playing. It is awesome to see that generation move on like that. I think that's super duper cool, and I know they're so proud. Their families are here, and all my parents. We did our own little ceremony over there, handing out the medals for the sectional semifinalists, and they didn't do it here. So I'm like, let's go over here, and we're doing it the right way. And I pulled every kid out. I had Jason Schulting, our AD, come out. We shook hands with every kid and gave them their day of honor too, that they earned to be here and enjoy this day.
All right. Well, it's been a lot of fun covering you, and
I appreciate you guys coming. You betcha.
And you know, when's the next time you're going to see a helicopter cleaning off?
Isn't that
off
awesome?
the field this morning.
That was
Jeez.
awesome. I mean, like I said, man, if you would, when we came, the cameras were just flying.
Yeah.
I was sending photos left and right to people, and they're like, "That is so cool. That's so neat, man." But no, you guys do a great job. We appreciate this, and you guys don't realize how far this reaches out. I know my mom's not able to do it a little bit with health, and so she's able to be a part of every one of these games. I send her all the information you guys do with the station, so she sits home and does that. And the viewership, you know, the listenership is massive, and it's so neat when people talk about, I heard you on the radio, man, how fun was that? And I'm like, it's those guys at the radio. They do a fantastic job of putting you into that position. You guys do a great job.
Well, thank you very much, and we will have the YouTube videos coming up later tonight. They'll be posted once we find a place to post them. Again, thanks for everything, Lance Schmitz, the Barneveld coach. Barneveld season comes to an end 14-2 to Johnson Creek. The number 1 ranked team in Division 4 is heading to state, and Barneveld season, again, a great season, because if you get to sectional final, you've had a great season. No question about that.
Yep. No, I thought we had a great season. I mean, we were, what are we, 16 and 6. That last year we were 17-7. You know, and we lost 5 games this year at the beginning of the year because of weather, because of spring break and things like that. So we're right there. I mean, we're consistently at the top. I don't know if we've finished out of second place in the last 15, 20 years. So we are right there. Second or first place every year, and we're fighting for that number 1 and number 2 seed. This is the lowest seed I've ever had, and thanks to 2 or 3 dudes, I appreciate it from you. So we'll see you guys down. We'll see you guys down the road. Is all I can say, and there's a lot of other guys that know about it. So
long memories can be, payback or something like that.
You got it, man, and it's shameful. It's jealousy. It's there's just little things that the guys have told me. I got phone calls immediately, and they're like, "What in the world?" And hey, move on to the next day. I'm 52 years old. I don't know how many. I got less than a handful of years doing this left, and I'm going to move on to the next day with a smile on my face.
Well, I'm 59, and I don't have any plans of stopping.
Hey, I can jump and join you here in a couple of years, my man. All right.
All right. Thanks once again, Lance Schmitz, the head coach of Barneveld. Again, the season ends 14-2 to Johnson Creek, ending a great season, no question about that, 16-6 and going to the sectional final. But we are not done, because we have state softball to do on Thursday. Cuba City and Auburndale, 6:10 start on Super Hits 106. 4 teams. The other 2 will be Coleman and Fall Creek. Never been to state before. And all 4 teams, 2 or 3 losses. Got to look like a pretty even field in Division 4.
A very even field, and we mentioned earlier, too, that Cuba City girls teams are, well, they've completed the trifecta as far as getting to state. They got to state in volleyball, were eliminated in the semifinals, and then they were runners-up in girls basketball during the winter sports, but they will try to bring home the gold and drawing the number 2 seed in that Division 4 tournament. Should be a fun one. It's been a fun team to follow during the postseason. We're the Cuba City Cubans, looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out at the state tournament at Goodman Diamond later on this week.
And also to see if Carrie Lawson pays up.
Well, she got me my burger.
But not me.
Right.
Well, the sports directors of Queen Bee Radio are Mark Evenstad, R.J. Osterhaus, Rob Spangler is our program director, Tyler Dictatus, our digital program producer. Are you older now as a result of how today went?
I'm crispier than I was when the day started.
Johnny Page is our chief engineer. He had to do some work today. Thanks to Brady Ramsire and the staff at Johnson Creek High School, and we're just impressed forever by the helicopter. Thanks to our sponsors who help us bring this game to you, and thank you for joining us. Great Regional Health Center and People's State Bank coverage of high school playoff baseball presented by Myers Heating and Cooling. The Myers Home Comfort Store at Wolf Construction is a Queen Bee Radio sports presentation on 97.7 Country, WGLR Lancaster. Barneveld beats Pecatonica in the first game 8-3, but loses to Johnson Creek 14-2 in 6 innings. Season ends for the Eagles, and good luck to Johnson Creek at State. From the Wolf Construction broadcast table for Tyler DeTanis, I'm Steve Prestegard. I think 97.7 Country Nights is next, and we'll see you for State softball Thursday night.